Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I am fine. I feel pretty good. My back's pretty good. My feet's pretty good. Want to get ready for another 75-hour fast, maybe in a week or so. It's my birthday, March 7th, so maybe I'll do it the 4th, the 5th, and then I can enjoy my birthday and not worry about it. Anyway, there's some stuff I want to talk about. There's some stuff that chatting at the hot tub, a little communism, a little Bitcoin. So let's get to that. So let's start with Bitcoin and digital currencies. There seems to be some misunderstanding what my knowledge is in it, if I really care about it, why I would care about it. So let's look at the definition. So I was asked about digital currency. All right. Okay, so let's get to definitions. So I got challenged by some irate. I'm not even sure he's a person, just some irate person, some irate thing. I won't give him credit to being a person. People that I know don't act like this. So when I ask, what is digital currency? Now, I was told I didn't know, therefore I'm an idiot. Digital currencies, let's see. Digital money or digital currency refers to any means of payment that exists in a purely electronic form. Digital money is not physical, tangible like a dollar bill or coin. It is accounted for and transferred using online systems. One well-known form of digital money is the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. So I don't doubt Bitcoin. It's a digital, I'm not sure you would call it a currency because it's really not money. So I'm really not clear what that means, right? Let's see, digital money. See, it's not money. The fact that it's not tangible, it's electronic form. So it's electron, but it's not a credit card or a debit card. So be careful if you think, you know what digital currency is. It's only Bitcoin. It's only electronic. There is no actual dollar attached to it, right? So if I use my debit or credit card, I need this or some form of hard currency to put it in my account so I can draw from it. So my debit card only works if I have money in the account. Now, it's electronic in the fact that I go to the grocery store and give them my debit card and they take $50 out of it. That's fine. So if you're going to come challenge me, you better know what the hell you're talking about also. So that is not electronic. It's not digital currency using a debit or credit card. It's using your funds, your hard funds. So digital currency means that it exists in an electronic form, not physically tangible. So it's only Bitcoin. Now, I was hammered on a few other comments that I've been making, which I'm really kind of still pissed off about. So what I said from my Alistair McLean or McLeod or whatever he is, the guy without the guy, the balder guy. He says that because of JP Morgan not wanting to go to a central bank digital currency, that they won't have one because it's got to be voted on it. So JP Morgan doesn't want to give up the monopoly of printing. And even if we go to, what'll happen is we'll go to a new currency. So the fact that we'll go to a new currency just simply means that that digital currency, it'll simply mean we will not have central bank digital currency. We will never have that. That's what I'm saying. So you got to listen and understand. And if you don't, you need to ask, not point fingers. I'm not here to get fingers pointed at me. Okay. You want that, go to Peter Schiff and then try to talk to him. Right. So I got the balls to do this live and I want the interaction and I want to help and teach. That's what I'm here for. Not to get the finger pointed at me because I said something. I didn't say anything. I'm telling you what Alistair McLean says. So he says there won't be a U.S. central bank digital currency. Now, will there be a digital currency like a Bitcoin? There already is. So I don't know. Is there going to be another governmental digital currency besides Bitcoin? Who knows? Who cares? My point is, I don't think they'll get away from this. They'll come up with a new one, but I don't see. So I think what'll happen is there'll be a new dollar, and then I don't see a central bank digital currency, and there'll be Bitcoin. I never said there wouldn't be Bitcoin. I do think Bitcoin will lose its value because it isn't anything, right? So if you believe Bitcoin is gold or Bitcoin's money or Bitcoin's going to $1 million, what is it, an ounce? It's not an ounce. I don't know what it is. So if you believe that, that's fine. I mean, you can believe it. You can't explain it. So therefore, I don't invest in it because I don't see that it's actually money. It's not an asset. It's a piece of paper that's worth $22,000 I saw today. All right. So if you made money on it, wonderful. People made money on Madoff. It doesn't mean it wasn't a Ponzi scheme. So the fact that I'm not in crypto should tell you a lot of maybe you shouldn't be in it, because if the professor's not in it, why would you be in it? Secondly, the other factor is I make a lot of money betting football games. Do you? I made a lot of money on gold stocks. Do you? I think that's really low and childish when somebody says you're upset because you didn't make money in crypto, in Bitcoin. No, I didn't. I got Mantle cards and Bobby Orr cards, which I've showed you. I got a bunch of gold and silver, which I showed you. And I made a lot of money on a gold stock, and I played poker, and I make a lot of money betting football, which you can see on my site. And I give you the picks here a week before the game, so you know I'm honest with you, telling you the game. I tell you the Super Bowl, the whole week of the Super Bowl, it wins. So it's not like I come on after the Super Bowl and say this won. So I don't choose to go into crypto because I have 12 better ways of making money than crypto. Right? I can go play poker, I can bet the football, and then I buy gold and silver. I'm way ahead of the curve in gold and silver. You should realize that. So, do I pick on anybody because they like Chinese food, or they have a red hat, or because they made money in crypto versus gold? No, I try to talk you into gold because it's extremely undervalued. It's the only real money that will survive this mess. And we're early at it, right? It's very low now. We're getting in at a perfect time. Actually, the perfect time would have been when I bought this in 1995 to have bought 1,000 ounces of gold at $250 an ounce. So for the money I spent on the 2,000 an ounce gold, I could have got at 250. I could have got 1,000 ounces. Yes, that bothers me because I knew better, because I have my master's in Austrian economics. I know they're going to do inflation, and I know gold's going to go up, and I know I know gold has to go up, and therefore at 250, I should have been buying more. I'm pissed off. I didn't buy it when it was 35 an ounce, but I was only 12 years old and I didn't have any money to buy it. However, so people that pick on people for not doing a stupid thing, I don't tolerate. They will not stay on this channel, and I will not talk to them. Just like I don't talk to the communist at the hot tub. I will have Bitcoin conversations at the hot tub. If they want to tell me why, I will listen, and then I'm going to push for gold. Or at poker, I will listen. But if they go in and say you didn't make money at it, how dare they? I go to Toyota to get my oil changed, and then I talk to the salesman. He's got Bitcoin, and I tell him, take your profit and put it into gold. That's the most logical thing. Gold's going to go up. You know, I'm glad he made a lot of money in Bitcoin. I'm glad people made a lot of money in Madoff. I don't like the way they ended it, where the people that made money had to pay to the people who lost money. No. What does one thing have to do with the other? That's bullshit. That should not have happened. And the real winner was the attorney who did all the bullshit. He got $1 billion from the Madoff claim. So my point is, you can't. It's like me laughing at somebody for bluffing in poker. I can't do that. That's their choice. They can win or lose with it. If they win, I'm happy for them. If they lose, I laugh at them. But I don't, that's as clear of a doubt. So the only digital money we have is Bitcoin. That's it. I don't believe in the U.S. will have central bank digital currency because of JP Morgan. They are not in on it. So if you're telling me they are, you're wrong. Okay, so don't come to this class with misinformation. Don't come to this class bitching about that I help my girlfriends. You do that, you're gone. I'm telling you that right now. Now, we can talk about football and poker and economics and health and the war in Russia and all that stuff. But when you hit personal, you're gone. Okay, so not here for that. I'm here to teach. If you don't understand that, go listen to Peter Schiff and lose all your money. It's fine with me. I do not get paid for this. I get paid for my football picks because I'm a damn good handicapper. I give you poker tips. I give you economics and gold and silver tips, food, health tips. So that's what I'm here for. And that's what I'll always be here for. And I come, and if you want to watch, I'm glad you do. So now there's a few videos I want you to see. And hopefully it stays on. I hate when this does that. So I have a video all set, and then I go to a different site, and then I come back to YouTube, and for some reason it gets killed. Okay, here it is. All right.
Okay, this is going to sound a little nuts, but the fastest and easiest way to make passive online income on Amazon.
Okay, so we were looking at Ivan Van Geurts, and this guy's the Swiss banker for Credit Suisse, Austrian economist, very smart. So he knows what he's doing. So with that said, let's look at it. And there's a few key points in it that I talk about. I tell you gold and silver is going to go up, and it's gold, and the economy, the money supply is crashing. And so I tell you all that. And that's what we need to know. So with that said, let's go to okay, so I'm going to break this up into sections. We're going to talk about a section, and then we're going to go to and then I'll talk about it. So here we go.
Or rent the whole home and go into something smaller.
So these guys are like the hosts, so they ask him the question.
Private health care. Forget about private health and go to public, which will save you a considerable amount of money. And children should go to public schools instead of private schools. And so this would save the average household a couple of $1,000 a month, $2,000 or $3,000 a month, which is what they will need to be able to service their loans on their mortgages. This is where we are heading now. And once again, Egon, we are only in the infancy of this whole debacle. So, long way to go and hard times ahead. I've got to say one time,
That's what they're talking about is prices getting more expensive. What do I do to cut my costs? And they're saying, well, do public health care, not private, take your kids out of private school to public. So it's ways of where do you spend your money on how to get them smaller. So let's go back.
In this situation. But your thoughts, Egon?
We have a global debt of 300 trillion that's gone from basically nothing 50 years ago. And as I have been writing about in my articles, we have derivatives outstanding, which officially by the Bank of International Settlement in Basel is a bit over 600 trillion. That was reduced by half about a bit over 10 years ago, 12 years ago, which was they just reduced it and showed one side of the risk of the outstanding liabilities. But of course, if one party fails, that means and counterparty fails also, it's double. So it was already then 1.23 quadrillion. And my view is now we are well over. This has grown exponentially since then, derivatives. So now we are well over 2 quadrillion in my view. And a lot of that is debt. It's just another form of debt. And over the next 5 years or so, I think that debt will translate into real debt as central banks have to try to rescue these banks that have issued these derivatives when the counterparty fails. We saw a small example of that in the UK pension market when UK had this mini budget and Liz Truss was prime minister for a short period, and the market didn't like the policies that they came out with, which I think that market was probably artificially manipulated to get that government out. But whatever. But then it came out that the UK pension market was on the verge of collapsing because they had covered their liabilities in derivatives. So these derivatives were to generate short-term cash flow to them. So now when pension funds are also, which we know they are speculating in the derivatives market, it shows you the extent of the problems we will have. And as I said, I think gradually that derivatives central bank will have to intervene and try to save the banks initially. And in the end, a lot of those derivatives, a big part of it will become debt. And so I consider those couple of quadrillion or so on top of the debt of 300 trillion. I see that as a form of debt too. And then you can see how we get a hyperinflation when they have to print money to cover all of that, and you can see what will happen to interest rates. And you think about, the interest rates, if they get back, which I'm sure they will do in the West, they will get back to the 20% of the 70s and early 80s. Who can pay 20%? Nobody. So again, it will only be paid by printing more money. So we will have this vicious circle of debt and money printing, whether it be in a digital form or in the current form of money. It doesn't matter, because in the end, the digital money is just paper money also, or fake money. So in the end, that will have the same hyperinflationary effect. And I think that's what we will see within the next 5 years, let's say, starting within the next 5 years. It's going to be, it's going to be very tough for the West. But I think the East and the South are not going to be in the same situation. They don't have the same debts. They have underlying commodities and economies that will.
So So what he's saying is, since we have so much debt and the pensions have so much debt, in a pension you shouldn't be in derivatives, or it's like options. It's high risk. So why are you in high risk? In somebody's pension. So the government will have to bail them out. The only way they can bail them out is print money. What is that? That's inflation. The more you print, the less it's worth, as we've explained. And so you're going to have a really big problem because the workers think they have pensions and they're going to all do that. So the moral of the story is you want to hold all your stuff. You want it in gold and silver and hold it. Now, if you want to be in Bitcoin, do you have control of your money? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know enough about it, how you'll be able to access it. And then what are you going to get from it? In other words, I'm going to take my gold, I can buy a house. You can't do that with the Bitcoin because it's not even physical. So if the owner doesn't take Bitcoin, you're not going to do anything. And then if you want to cash in your Bitcoin, what are you going to cash it into? Into this? Do you want this? I mean, my gold, I don't want in this. I'll put it in a new currency, but it's only going to be to pay bills with. So it's going to be in, pay the bills, out, buy the house, buy the car, whatever I'm going to do with it. You don't sell all your gold at once because it went up. You are not buying gold as an investment. You're buying gold as protection. With the kickers, it's going to go up in value, but you're not buying it like a stock. Oh, Microsoft's at 20, now it's at 30, I'm going to sell it. Okay, now I got my money in that. Well, that's not what you're doing here. What you're doing here is you're getting out of dollars because they're going to lose because they're printing it all to cover pensions and everything else. And then you're going to take, then it's going to go up in value. So the gold you have is worth more, just like this card's worth $1,000 and it goes to 5,000. I'm not going to sell the card. It's just worth more. I might sell it, but right now I'm not going to sell it. It'll be worth more. And that's the whole key to the game. You buy smart assets so they go up, so you make money on them, just as if you put your money in a savings account or into Bitcoin or into a stock you think will go up. So you're making an investment because you think the price will go up. And that's my point on doing these 1099s with gold. I am not buying gold as an investment. So I'm going to balk when they want to tax me. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. You're out of your mind. So we will see. And if we have to, we'll go to Switzerland to sell it. If we have to open up a bank account in Switzerland to do it, to house the money. I mean, that's going to be our biggest problem, right? It went up a lot in value. What's the best way to sell it and keep our money? So we will see. But what you're trying to do is wait for it's advantageous to sell at the point. So just a quick thing. Let's
avoid the worst of this. But of course, when it is a global situation, everyone will suffer.
Yes, as much as I have saved very consistently in gold and silver, I think I better double up. I'm not kidding here. You just need as much as you can possibly afford. I'm going to move away, Egon, from the great talk that we've had so far, but I want to get to another point, maybe on a better note. This one's about silver. I was listening to an interview. Interviewing a Mr. Chen Lin. This was at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. He gave a speech on what he thinks silver and solar panels growth will be. Presently, the new solar panels that are being manufactured are using 75% more silver to have greater efficiency in the solar panels that we use. Egon, we have seen silver at $50 twice in the last 30-odd years. So is silver going to be the next lithium? And when do you believe we will see triple-digit silver? Or we don't want to talk about price range or whatever, but we've had 50 twice now. Anything under $100, which is triple-digit, would be nice to see because it's only $21, $22 at the moment. So do you see silver
coming of age because of its an industrial aspect, or do you think that the monetary metal will come about even sooner?
Yes, to both. I've tried to avoid more and more forecasting prices because to forecast prices of the precious metals is totally useless if you don't tell me at the same time, or if we don't define at the same time what's going to be the value of the currency you measure it. Sure. Yes. So because that's what it's all about. It's nothing about gold and silver going up. It's about the value of the currencies collapsing as they have done throughout history. And this time, since debt is bigger than it's ever been in history, therefore the collapse of the currencies, well, they can only go to zero. But that's going to happen. And since so with that massive outstanding debt, yes. So that and of course during this period when this happens, the metals will not only reflect the decline of the currencies, but they will reflect the fear in the world that everything is going to disappear value-wise. So therefore, the metals will overshoot dramatically on the upside and do more than just reflect the decline in the purchasing power of the paper money, in my view. And of course, when these things happen, we know that we all consider gold to be that's the king of the metals, that's the real wealth preservation investment or holding, and therefore that should be the majority of anybody's precious metals portfolio. But we also know that when the metals move up, silver normally moves at least twice as fast and maybe faster. And since there is an incredible deficiency in silver, also, as you stated, due to the industrial demand we will have, so that's a double whammy for silver. I think the silver price and the metal price will more reflect the monetary situation in the world than the industrial situation, because we get these downturns in the world that we expect, even if the east is on the up, that will take time. So therefore, I think the determining factor for the metals going up will be the monetary situation rather than the industrial one. But the industrial one will certainly help, I suppose, when it comes to silver, because there are, every year there are physical shortages of silver, and has to be borrowed or lent. And we know that the futures markets also there's no chance of covering the outstanding paper market when people ask for delivery. So silver will go up much faster than gold in the coming years, and of course the $50 will be nothing. So we, as you said, we were there in 1980, in January 1980, and we were there in 2011 at $50, and it's quite amazing that silver is now less than half of that value, while gold is at least, gold in dollars is at the levels it were more or less in 2011. But of course, gold in other currencies, as we all know, in most currencies, gold is a lot higher than it was in 2011. If you take Australian dollars or in euros or in pounds or in yen or whatever. So it's just that we temporarily have a stronger dollar, so overall, gold has done very well. I mean, it's just that the dollar is overvalued right now. But yes, so no, silver will be spectacular in my view. And in today's money, I would expect silver to go into the hundreds of dollars in today's money. But we won't have today's money, and there's no use measuring it in any other money that we don't know what it is at this point, or how far it will go. But remember that the silver is not for widows and orphans. It's a very volatile investment. So therefore, my recommendation is to hold a lot less silver than gold.
So what's he saying? Because of all this money collapsing and because everything's priced in that, silver will go now later on, and I'll tell you that silver goes to, he says, $666 while gold hits 10,000 conservatively. And again, the problem is the more you print, the less it's worth. So how do you really get the true value of the dollar, right? So as of today's dollar, he's saying $600 for silver, 10,000 for gold. But as you print more to try to bail out pensions and banks and everything, it's now worth a lot more because the dollar's worth a lot less. So what we're playing is we're betting. So what do I do? What's my expertise? Football betting, right? And what do I look at? I look at a action to get a reaction, right? Oh, Mahomes is out. I'm going to bet against KC. Mahomes is playing. I'm betting on KC. Well, KC's a dog. I'm going to bet KC. TCU's the dog to Michigan. I'm betting to bet TCU. Georgia, TCU, they both score a lot, and TCU's defense is kind of weak. I'm going to bet the over. So I look at the first fact to get to the second fact. They're printing a lot of money. I'm going to buy gold and silver. Now, this is why I'm not buying Bitcoin, right? If people perceive that I don't know what's going on and I should be buying Bitcoin, that's another argument of I bet football and I buy gold and silver. That's how I make my money. And you can't argue with either thought because you can see how I pick football. And why am I picking gold and silver? It's obvious also because of the gold and silver is because of what's going on with the dollar and because I have a master's in it. I understand it. Why don't I want to be in digital currencies? Because I don't believe it's not money. It's not currency. I can't hold it. I'm struggling to see it's not real money. So people will go out. So I can see the cryptocurrency going, well, if this goes out, then everything will go to crypto. No, everything's going to go to gold and silver is my argument to that. We know it's going to go up. So at worst case, I'm buying silver 25 an ounce going to 666, roughly. My guess is 2,000, but my guess is first it'll stop. Let's say it stops at 666. And then as it stops, everybody runs into it because as they see it going up is when they start buying. We're buying now because we know it's going up. We know the action of printing money gives you the reaction of it loses its value, and gold and silver, which are assets which I can hold, will go up. So that's the action reaction. I don't see that with Bitcoin. That's why I'm not in Bitcoin. Fine, you're in Bitcoin, you make money at it. I don't care. I don't care if you're in Amazon or Tesla. It doesn't matter. Hey, Bobby Bo. Thank you, Bobby Bo. All right, I'm going back through Von Egan again. I'm going to get to if you get a chance to watch it. So I just did the one where he's explaining gold and silver, but I'm going to get to one that you're going to like. So he's explaining silver will be much, much higher. So you can rest and relax. I read what digital currency is, which digital currency, the only digital currency in the world is Bitcoin. It's electronic currency. It is not this. It is not debit card or credit card. It is not this. It's not gold or silver. It's just electric. What is that? So that's not, now I'm very, very careful. I am saying JP Morgan does not want central bank digital currency. And I said that will not happen in the US. Okay. The other digital currencies that are not central bank, so these other cryptos, might happen in the US, but they're being tested. And I'm not talking about Bitcoin. I'm talking about any other that the US, like if the Fed rolls out or the Treasury rolls out, we're going to get rid of dollars, go to a digital currency that's not, see, Bitcoin's not government. It's whatever the Japanese guy that did it. I'm talking U.S. government. They haven't even tested it yet. They don't know how to do it. That's at least 5 years away. So when you come at me here, you have to, you got to understand what you're talking about. So I'm saying the central bank digital currency will not happen in the U.S. It's in other countries in a test phase, and that won't be out till at least 2026 and some in 2030. And they'll have a hard time digital central bank to the public. It'll probably go to the other banks and the other central banks. That's what that's all about. So the U.S. government is 10 years away if they ever do it. And that's not even central bank. That's saying, hey, you know what? We're going to use digital currency instead of printing dollars. My thought is they're still going to print dollars out because JP Morgan wants it. So you have to understand action, reaction. So that's the point. That's what I'm saying. So you got to listen to me before you want to beat me up. And that's my point here. So digital currency, the only digital currency is crypto. Nothing else, not debit and credit card. That's electronic, but not digital. Digital is electronic currency, which is only in Bitcoin. Why it has a value, I don't know. And again, I don't care if you made a lot of money in it, fine. I make a lot of money betting football games. I make money playing poker. And the most money I make in gold and silver, which we're smart enough to buy it cheap. And we're smart enough to wait. As Egon says, well, you don't want to buy it after the fact. You want to buy it when nobody wants it, which is what we're doing. So let's go to
on that.
all right, next section.
September 11th, 2001.
I hate when I move the cursor and then it brings up the ad. I hate that.
Yes, of course it will do. And as I said, the dollar is on the decline, as we have all agreed, and it's down 98%.
I'm going to ask you, Egon, about Saudi Arabia and what sort of an impact they're going. We've been talking BRICS, and they look like the most likely candidate to join BRICS this year. The petrodollar, we all know, was very instrumental in giving the US dollar global status. Very, very responsible for where it is today. Basically forcing countries to purchase oil out of Saudi Arabia in US dollars. Now, if Saudi Arabia, and we'll assume that they will be successful in joining BRICS, and they've declared already that they will accept currencies, alternative currencies and gold for payment for oil, surely that's going to have a massive impact on the prominence of the US dollar. I'd like your thoughts on that.
Yes, of course it will do. And as I said, the dollar is on the decline, as we have all agreed, and it's down 98% since 71, and it's still going to decline. People talk about a strong dollar now only because relatively it's been a little bit strong. But the strength, if you define the strength by as we said, against real money, it's gone down 98%. So the fact that it goes up a fraction of a percent in the short term is totally relevant. The trend is down. The dollar is going to die. Of course it is. Whether then, as I said before, the euro dies before that because of what's happening in Europe, that's irrelevant. So the dollar might be stronger for a little bit longer, but thereafter the US will default on their debts. And of course, no Western country ever calls it default. But they just fake it and just issue some new currencies. But they're not going to be able to pay their debts or the interest on their debt, whatever they say, whether they print or they create a digital currency. They are going to default. Technically, they will default. Fundamentally, they will default. So it's only a question of, is it 5 years, is it 7 years? But that's going to happen. And of course, yes, thereafter, and the petrodollar will be part of that. So, this is, as I said, when trends change, everything bad that could happen will happen, and the US will. The only thing they have now is the petrodollar. That's why we have, US can still, with the massive debts that they have, because of this liquidity into dollars, money going into dollars and oil payments going into dollars. So it's a very clever scheme by, Kissinger helped to set up this petrodollar. But, we come to the end of that because we're not going to be dominated by the West anymore. But as I said, it's not happening. It's not going to happen overnight. It'll just take a little bit of time, and then the dollar, together with most Western currencies, will be dead.
Thank you for that.
Egon?
No, there is another geopolitical problem here that if Russia, together with Iran, if they really wanted to be nasty to the world, they could easily block the Strait of Hormuz. And if you look at the map, the Strait of Hormuz is where all the oil comes out of in the Middle East. And it's a very narrow gap between Dubai or United Arab Emirates and Iran, of course. And if they block that, and the US has no chance in stopping that, then of course roughly 50% of all the oil in the world, or 40-50, would be blocked for a while. And of course, that would hurt Saudi Arabia short term. But these are the kind of geopolitical games that are easy to play today to actually make it very difficult for the West, even if, as I said, Saudi Arabia would then suffer short term. The oil is, as we know, incredibly geopolitical or political, and what is interesting also, of course, oil gold. If you look at the oil gold chart or ratio, they go hand in hand with small fluctuations over 50, 100 years.
Here are Navy SEALs 3 rules for surviving a real-world assault. Rule number 1, always fight dirty.
So oil is going to go up and gold is going to go up. There's no question.
There's lots of more things to it than meets the eye for the average person, especially for most people who just don't read on those subject matters. Egon, I generally know the answer to this question, but I want you to answer it because I want our audience to know that there's more than just Daryl and Brian Paynes talking about gold and silver. Central banks last year bought 1,135 tons. This is a central bank of many countries. Bought 1,135 tons. Now, that is 1/3 of the world's gold coming out of the ground per year. All right, 1/3. So, Jim Sinclair often emphasises be your own central bank. Egon, why, in your opinion, is it so important to own both gold and silver in its physical state? I want your opinion. I know you've mentioned it a number of times, but there's always new audiences coming through. So Darren and I can generally harp on it, but I want your opinion.
First of all, let's just emphasize that virtually all the buying by central banks meant that no Western central bank bought gold because they don't understand what's happening. And so it was all other countries but Western countries, which is the Fed didn't buy, the European countries didn't buy. So it was mainly the East and the South and Central buying. So because they are wise, they know what's happening. The West doesn't understand what's happening, sadly. During my long life, I always liked gold. And then in the 90s, I saw that the debt situation is going to get worse. The derivatives looking terrible already then. So then when prepared for myself and then the business investment company I had at the time to invest in gold, and then we struck in 2002 because we thought gold was $300 to the ounce, and we thought that gold had now bottomed at 250, and it looked like the turn was up. And so obviously, to me, gold has not been an investment at all, or a speculation. To me, it's just the obvious protection of your asset and the consequence of the total mismanagement of the world economy and the monetary system, especially by the West. And therefore, it's an easy decision, because physical gold, as we've been saying many times today also, is the only currency that has ever survived. So therefore, in a time of crisis and debt explosion, it was clear to me that it's the only thing to hold. But then when you hold it, you must keep it in the financial system, which you are protecting yourself against. So therefore, to hold gold in a bank in a bank or in some paper form, or in some unsafe jurisdiction, that defeats the whole object of what you're doing. You've got to have control, either direct control or have it, store it in a place that is totally protected from these risks. So you're talking about private vaults. Some people store it at home. I don't recommend storing it at home, because crime is going to increase dramatically. It's already increasing now in most countries, and therefore people find out always in the end, because nobody can keep quiet about any secret almost. There was produced an article in the Daily Mail a few years ago, said how long can a woman keep a secret?
What is this, lady?
And the answer was 19 minutes, I think it was. They never asked how long a man can keep a secret. No. I don't think it would be any longer than that. So the point is, don't store it at home. At home, you only store as much as you can afford to lose, in my view, however cleverly you think you've hidden it. So there are good vaults around the world that are very safe. You've got to have it in the right jurisdiction. Also, my view is that gold should be stored in. You should have at least a part of it outside of your own jurisdiction, so you can flee to your gold. Because if your country starts either taxing you massively highly or confiscating your gold, which I don't expect gold to be confiscated in any way, in any country, but I think confiscation would be in the form of taxes instead. That actually much simpler for government to just tax you rather than having to get your gold from wherever it is at the time. So, but I think having it outside your own jurisdiction is an advantage, because it would be much harder for the government to get it back then, and therefore. I'm Swiss and Swedish, but I've lived in many countries. But from the political point of view, Switzerland is still the best country in the world by a big margin, in my view. We have here people power. Basically, you can have a vote on anything if you have a list of 100,000 signatures, and that becomes part of the constitution. So then no other country has got this. And it's incredibly unique and an incredibly good form of democracy. And it's a very sensible country. Now, some people around the world are worried that the Russians are going to come into the West, etc., and take over all of Europe, etc. The Russians are not going to come here. They have no interest in Europe whatsoever. They're trying to now protect, rightly or wrongly, you can argue that, but part of what was their own territory and where there are Russians involved. That's what they're doing. Whether they have further intentions of going east, I don't know. But they're certainly not. But historically, it hasn't happened, and they have no reason to go west, and they haven't even got the troops etc. for it. And therefore, I have zero concern about Russia coming west. I'm concerned about the world as a whole, but not about governments going west. So therefore, I still think Switzerland is a very good jurisdiction to store gold. And of course, the most private gold vaults in the world are in Switzerland. We, for example, have one in the mountains, as you know, which is the biggest and the safest gold vault in the world, totally unique. But, you know, there are other vaults around the world, but you really got to choose your jurisdiction. And as I said, preferably not in your home country, or preferably at least spread your risk to another country also. So it's absolutely essential that people store their gold in a form where they have direct access themselves, when there is no counterparty at all between them and the gold. You always have to have one counterparty. If you dig a hole in the ground is your counterparty, because somebody can steal your gold, of course, from your ground. and the same with the vault. But you must have direct control of the gold in your vault. You mustn't let somebody, a middleman, have control of the gold. So you must be able to go to it directly yourself without anyone being able to stop you. That's the way we organize our storage for clients. So clients we are not a counterparty. We're just somebody organizes it in between. So yeah, I think, and then some people want to spread it to various jurisdictions. And of course, for example, a lot of people talk about Dubai now, but I mean, Dubai is on the one hand, now it's an economy people like because they're no control.
Well, there you go. So people are worried about getting their gold confiscated. He's saying that's what the 1099s are going to be. Switzerland, the best place to have it. So that's what I say. We'll take a little field trip to Switzerland. When we need to sell our gold, we'll just fly there and cash it in. I don't think we have enough gold and silver to, like really where are we going to put it? But what he's saying is don't leave it in the bank, and don't, if Bobby, you want to have it in your house, you lock it up, but the crime might go up. So you might put some more in another like safe vault, but not at a bank or a government. The banks will close and you won't be able to get it. That's the problem. That's what he's saying. So it's just, you go to a vault, you go to a safe, you got the combo, and off you go to it. Now there's a part in here I thought was right there where he's saying, by the way, he says silver he thinks will be 666 and gold will be 10,000. So that's for you, Bobby. You're thinking about the price. That's where he's suggesting under this money it'll be 666 with a $10,000 gold price. But as that happens, it'll go higher and higher and higher. So you can see. So why do I bring this into the class? Well, so you get a different view. You get a Swiss banker economist telling you what his point of view is. And that's where I get some of mine, but most of mine I already know. So you're getting like, hey, this is what's happening. The money is collapsing. So I take action to reaction. The money's collapsing. What do I do? Now, I knew this about 2 years ago. And I told all my friends and whoever else would listen in the hot tub to get out of the stock market and to get out of the dollars out of your bank and buy gold. Now, the difference, gold should be much higher than it is now, but it's being held down. But I made the right play 2 years ago. I emptied my bank, sold my stocks, got into gold and silver at that time. So I sold $50,000-$60,000 and bought gold with it at $1,700 an ounce. It really hasn't gone where it should have for somebody printing $10 trillion and everything else. So it really should be much, much higher. Hey, Bobby, I sometimes think about that. What if I have all my metals in one place and I get flat out robbed? Well, that's what he's saying. So you leave a little at home because you want to be able to go right to the safe and get it. And then you put somewhere, and I would suggest Switzerland or some other place that, they can't tax you, that's safe. Switzerland, you'd be able to get any time, but you got to get on a plane. And then how much do you take there? And mostly gold. Silver, like I said, it's in my freezer. I don't know how anybody's going to find it anyway. I mean, so you got to be clever with it, right? So you don't, if you have a safe, you put brass in the safe. And if they steal it, they think they got your gold, and they don't. So you can be clever that way, like Money Heist, where it was brass for gold. You can put it in Cool Whip in your freezer and fridge, where they would not think it's gold. I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to go through your refrigerator to find your gold and silver? You just say, I don't have any, or maybe you leave. There was a movie where the kid kept like $1 in his sock or something. And so that the bullies would beat him up, and he'd give them the $1 and say, here you go, this is what I got. And he kept he kept the $1 in his wallet and kept 50 in his sock. So they'd beat him up, and he'd go, here's the $1. And then that would be it. And then he'd really have the 50 somewhere else. So we got to play Money Heist here. So I would suggest, if you do that, you get a safe, and that you fill it with brass. And then if they come steal, they get the brass. They won't know. Hell, we can barely figure out if it's gold or not. But we know, but that's what you do. But yeah, Bobby, be careful. Like you said, you keep some of it. You might keep some in your car. You might keep some at a U-Haul or one of these storage areas where it's like, you ever see Storage Wars, right? Where they bid on a storage unit that the guy died, or it hasn't paid, so it's defaulted. And then they open it up and see what's in there, and they bid $500 and hope they pull out $500 worth of goods or more. So you get a storage locker and you put gold and silver in that. It's pretty safe. The government's not going to get to it. They don't know it exists. And you do that. So you might do a U-Haul or some storage, and just put that and so keep some there, keep some at your house. My concern is meeting Jenna in Europe. If the shit hits the fan while I'm there, my US dollars will be worth crap, and I won't have time to trade them in. So I might have to bring an extra ounce or two of gold with me when I go meet Jenna, not for her, but for me, in case I need gold, so I can eat. I can pay the hotel with the credit card. See, before I leave, I pay for the flight and our hotel. But I don't have to pay double at the hotels. I pay, and she stays there, so it's not a problem. My only extra cost really is food with Jenna, and some shopping and stuff. But basically, the food, the hotel is paid for, and the airplanes are paid for before I even leave. So it's really not that expensive of a trip. Once I'm there, it's, a little bit of cash and credit cards, basically. So yeah, I'm worried about that coming home. Am I going to be okay? So I wanted you to hear it again. I know I played it yesterday, but wanted to play it again. I think it's very important. This guy's very good. He's not on as much. He's on, I think it's Gold Switzerland, where he writes his little newsletter. So they all work for the banks, or, I think he works for Credit Suisse, and they all put out this little newsletter. So but he's a real good Austrian economist. Him and Alistair MacLeod, all the Brits understand it. But like he said, none of the U.S. or Europe central banks are buying gold. And he says, that's the Keynesian effect. What do I mean by that? So there's Austrian economy, Austrian economics, which I teach, and then Keynesian economics, which is why the world's in such bad shape. And even the Chinese and the Russians are Austrian economists, not Keynesians. So Keynesians are communists. They believe in printing money, not gold. They don't believe in gold. So the people running it aren't buying gold for the central banks. They don't believe in it. What did he say? He said every currency goes to zero except gold. Gold's the only money that has never defaulted and never gone to zero and never will. There's always demand for it. So as I go to my supply demand, the demand for gold from Roman time to now is always up here, right? People fight for it. Hitler fought for it. Everybody fights for gold. 9/11 was a gold robbery. what was that movie? Die Hard 3 was a gold robbery. Money Heist was a gold. They don't steal Bitcoins. They steal gold. That's the king, right? It's the gold standard. That's what you thrive for. So that's really what it is. And that's what I want to show you. I don't know. I got to go back. I want to show, I really want to show maybe it's here. Now let's try this.
We're giving away these $1,000 gold bills for free. And who's that handsome guy on each bill? That's right.
All right, let's try one more segment.
The ratio will consist of 60% yuan, 40% gold, and in any other way of, and
he's talking about the
saying
BRICS
another
countries'
way
currency.
Saying de-dollarization policy is playing out. As I see it, Egon, gold is now starting to be used as money, especially between Russia and China. So what do you see in the next 12 months with regards to other countries joining them, Russia and China?
To understand what they're doing. Here you have a country where a US-led confiscation has basically frozen all of their assets that are outside of Russia. And so if they have had assets in dollars or in euros or other currencies, but that's gone basically. So so here you have a country that just confiscates holdings of other countries, and for whatever reason we already discussed that situation, so we don't need to discuss why and how. But nevertheless, as a prudent investor, why or as a prudent finance ministry, of course you can't hold your currencies anything else but the values that you can trust. Gold at home you can always trust. Gold in your own country, nobody can take away from you if they don't obviously invade the country and take it, which the US has done with many countries. But nevertheless, Russia, I'm sure they don't expect to be taken over by the US. And therefore, they feel safe with the gold. And of course, there are 2,000 tons, whatever they declare now officially. It's most likely a lot higher than that. And we don't know, but I'm sure that they are saving all the gold they can now, also from their own production and mines, etc. So it's probably a lot higher. But yuan is that's where the world is moving to the east, and that's going to be a trading currency. Gold will now take a major role in the world currency system as the Western currencies decline. Remember that this decline is only on the West. So when we talk about sanctions and what's happening in the world, remember the sanctioning countries, the US and the West, is not more than 15% of world population. So you have to remember that we're so West dominated. So we read the Western news and the news that is dominated by the US, but that's only 15% of the world population. The other 85 don't give a damn about what these confiscation by the US and sanctions. It's because South America, Africa, Asia, they're not affected directly by what's happening sanctioning, and they're not following any of the US instructions on confiscation. So therefore, we're talking about just a smaller part of the world, and that's why you have to be optimistic on the rest, because the rest is moving forward and moving forward in structures, as I said, the BRICS, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, etc. And more countries want to join the BRICS, and the BRICS are probably going to at some point issue their own currency, whether that will be gold-backed or linked to gold. I'm not in favor of gold-backed currencies because they can always be manipulated, but there might be some loose linkage or whatever. So that's the positive side of the world. Going to happen. The transition will be long and difficult, But that's where the world is moving, and there's always been East and West dominance throughout the thousands of years of world economy. China's dominated many times. Right now, it's the West, but the West is actually on the decline. So overall, this is just part of an ongoing world with shifts between various parts of the world. So overall, at the end of this, it's just Europe will be poor, and you instead of having an au pair from some foreign countries in the East or Thailand or whatever, the Philippines, now they're going to be German au pairs in China in 20 years time, or an English au pair in China. So that's the natural forces of supply and demand. It's just going to be happening a bit faster now because of the debt situation, which will make it unravel a lot quicker than it.
So that's what he's saying. You buy your, gold's always the king. It's always the gold standard. From the Romans to Holland and Netherlands, Amsterdam, to Spain, France, and England, they all became strong because of gold. They all became weak when they got rid of their gold and inflated their dollars, and the dollars became worthless. So that shows you the importance of money and gold, especially gold, in the economy and in the world. And he who has the gold makes the rules. Now, how did the U.S. get so fucked up where they have everything? All they had to do was keep going, not go into all these wars where we have to pay, because wars are expensive. You got to pay you're going to pay your soldiers anyway, but you've got to get the bullets and the tanks and the planes and the missiles and all these guys. Like, I don't know that they're all right. They're probably not active, but then they go active. When they go into the active duty, now you got to pay them more and you got to feed them and all the weapons and everything. You fire a missile. It's not cheap to fire a missile. You saw these movies, right? So they're not cheap. So basically, that's the point of it. Gold never loses value. It really should be, dollars should be priced in gold, not the other way around. In other words, an ounce of gold is $1,900. Well, it really should be, it takes $5,000 to buy your ounce of gold. So it should always be priced in gold. Gold should be the base instead of the dollar. So that's really what's happening. So the action reaction is because we're not using gold, but everybody's going to gold, right? So the Russians and the Chinese and the BRICS are going to gold, is going to make the demand high, which it already is, and should make the price go high. So how much longer is JP Morgan going to fuck around keeping the price down? Are they able to? I mean, I guess once all the gold's bought, then they don't have a choice. They can't keep doing these derivatives. But see what the Alistair McLean says is the country that has the gold, that has the reserve currency, the U.S., is the last to realize it's fucked, right? So everybody else realizes the U.S. is fucked, but they don't realize it's fucked. So that's what's going on. Just wanted to share that video. I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday, but it's important. And again, there's a piece in here, and I'm frustrated because he says, well, silver, he asked him, where is silver going? And he says 666 with gold at 10,000. So just remember that, Bobby. When we buy it for 25, and you're just in your mind going, this is worth 666, I'm buying for 25. Let's round it to 700, and I'm buying it for 25. It's as much as you can eat. Why would I have any money in Bitcoin or the stock market or really anywhere else than this? This is just a waiting game now. This is just waiting. So let me ask you this. You buy a stock, you buy Microsoft. I don't even know what it's called. You buy Tesla. Tesla's at $100 a share, let's say. Do you expect it to go to 150 tomorrow, or do you think it is going to take you buying it to take 6 months or a year or long? You expect it to go up 10 points. So when you buy a stock, what happens if your stock goes down, like Tesla's is going to go because of the electric? What happens then? What is your, so you buy a stock because you think it's going to go up. If it goes down, you're really fucked. And that's where it's going. That's what I'm warning you. Just buy your $25 silver that's going to 700. Stop fucking around. It's just, it's going to take time. And you can't keep looking back and going, well, it hasn't in 50 years and the most it's done is 50, so I'm not going to buy it. Well, that's why I'm playing this, because it's going to go to the moon because of what BRICS is doing. And they're saying, all right, we've had enough of this shit. And the U.S. has so much debt, it's collapsing. That's why I'm telling you. So I try to explain it. I bring on Egon and I bring on Alistair McLeod so you can hear different points of view, but we all arrive at gold's going to be much, much higher. That's why, and that's why Bobby buys it. And that's why I buy it. And when I buy it, I show you. I'm a man of principle. And if I tell you, I do what I say. Here's 20 ounces of silver I just bought. Here's my goal. I'm telling you. And then I'm showing you. And then yeah, okay. I'm not Peter Schiff who says something that's so stupid nobody understands what he's saying. So let's go to. So I don't think I have to show you where he says 666. Plus, I just watched it and I'm like, I thought it was at the 51-minute mark, but apparently it's not. Let's see. So I saw something on Tesla and I just go into Google. Tesla may deliver biggest moment in car history since the Model T. So I kind of read it and about to witness the most significant moment in automotive history. And I don't think it was like, this is what it is. It's kind of like building where they will do it, but he didn't say. More and more evidence suggests that Tesla's Investor Day event, this will mark the beginning of the new era in automotive manufacturing. One is with EVs are not only much cheaper to run and maintain than petrol and diesel cars, but also cheaper to make. So that's what he's pointing to. I don't believe it. I think it's a scam because how are you going to make the car? And it's better than gas and diesel. So let's see what he's saying. It's probably just to get his stock up. Let's see. New online superstore surpasses Amazon and Walmart to become most downloaded. So I looked into that. It's some China app. So I avoid that with the plague. Nothing much in that. Let's go to our gold. Gold price today. Gold price today is $18.18, up $7. And the 10 o'clock did not happen at 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, it actually went up. And then it went down at like 10:30, 11. So maybe it was just the lead. And then, so I wouldn't have bought it at 10 because I want to buy it off of the down. So I'm going to buy it at 11:30, it looks like. Then it starts going up. So when you're doing this, you always wait for it starts to tick up. It goes up 30, 40 cents, then I buy it. So here, it goes down to 18.14, and it goes back to 18.20. So at 18.15, now I'm going to buy, if I buy gold like this. Silver, again, this is totally mute. It's $20. It's a screaming buy at $20. Again, this is fake. So when you look at it, you got to understand it's not real. You got to understand that this has nothing to do with reality. Egon says 666. I'm telling you 1,000 to 2,000. And you got to realize the emotion, right? What is hyperinflation? Expectations drive the whole system. Hyperinflation, money supply increases, the prices increase faster, but it's an expectation driven system. It's emotion. As people see the prices, they start panicking, and the prices go up and up and up. And this is what I'm telling you with gold and silver. So when you see silver at 666, what's going to happen is it's going to go way up from there, because once people see it, they all start running into it. And that's where, to answer your question, Bobby, when you say, well, will they read demand at 666, it's $25, well, people are still going to want it. And as I say, so the gold stores, the guy says, you know what? When the prices go up, we get more people than when the prices go down. Psychologically, they don't understand. They think when the prices drop, that it's time for it's going down. I don't want to buy it. But when it starts going, then they feel more confident going, oh, okay, it's starting to go up. I'm going to catch the train up. But we're contrary to that. We're seeing the price at $700 an ounce. I'm seeing it at 2,000. It's at 25. So if it goes down to 20, I'm like, great, even better. I can buy more for more of my $700 an ounce silver at $20. Again, to put it in proper perspective, let's call it this card. So this card's $1,000 yellow Jordan card. If I could get it for $5, would you? Well, if I knew the price was $1,000, yes. If I didn't know the price was $1,000, I might not buy it for $5. I might only buy it because it's a cool card. It's a yellow Jordan, so I'm going to buy it because I like it. But I don't think it'll go up in value because it's 2023 and Jordan played in the 90s. So where's it going to go? But if I know it's $1,000 card and I can get it for $5, I would. So if we know silver's $2,000, would you buy it for $20? Of course. And so the big question is, do you understand it's a 2,000 or let's say 700? Let's stick with Egon. Let's say if we assume it's over $700 an ounce, do we then buy it at $20? And that's my point. So as long as you can understand that concept and then you follow through with it, then that's what you should be doing. So that's my point on the whole emotion, right? The emotion of the hyperinflation. So when silver is 700 an ounce going up, more people will get in, which raises the prices more. And that's what we're waiting for. So this is the calm before the storm. This is like D-Day. We're in the boat waiting to hit the beach. And what's the term? All the shit's going to hit the fan or whatever. It's not the term, but it's okay. So I've been watching some World War II things, taking notes on what to do when this happens now. And there's a couple of things I noted. The first thing is there was Japan and there was the other thing. What was the other thing? Fuck, I thought it was the liberation of Paris. Anyway, there's a thing in Japan. When the U.S. is going to Japan, they go to Okinawa and a few other islands. And what the Japanese did was hide in tunnels. So you're bombing the land and they're not doing the tunnels, right? So they're not killing anybody, but they're just wasting a lot of ammunition and people are dying. Well, here's the first point that the professor would have noticed. When I get on the island and there's nobody there, but I know the island is inhabited by all these Japanese, I kind of go, I wonder where they are, and they're not visible, means they're underground. It's not like the Germans, they have plenty of tunnels underground. If you go to a lot of these European countries have the subways, Russia, Ukraine, where there's tunnels underground and you can go there. So it's not, we don't have them here, but it's not unique that there isn't. So if I don't see the opposition, so let's say we're playing baseball, Bobby, and we get on the field and there's where's the other team? We start asking questions. Well, why didn't the U.S. start asking questions? They're just going to bomb and drop bombs from air bombs from the ships, and you're not bombing anybody. You're just wasting time, and you're not figuring out they're underground. And then you got to figure out a way to get them underground, find their tunnels, and then just nuke, just bomb the entrance so they can't get out, and then just wait. You don't even have to, you shouldn't lose a man. You go find the tunnel, you blow it up, you find another tunnel, you blow it up, and then just wait for them to come out because they need food, they need supplies. How are they going to get that? If they don't come out of their tunnel, they can't get it. So you watch the tunnels and you just wait. And when they come out, you bomb that entrance, and you bomb, how many entrances there are. Hitler had six entrances to his bunker. Hitler did not die in the bunker. He went to Argentina, and he lived till 1965. He tried starting the Fourth Reich, which is what George Soros and the boys are about now, trying to take over the world. If you look at their plot, that's exactly what they're doing. Only they're doing it financially, going, we'll bankrupt everybody because they'll all be idiots and do fiat money. And the Russians and Chinese are going, well, fuck you, Soros. We're going to have gold. And that's why I'm sitting there going, there's not going to be one world currency. There's clearly, if it is, it's gold. But why aren't we going to gold now? And why is the U.S. too stupid to go to gold? So to save the U.S., if I was in charge, I would immediately buy as much gold as I could. And then I'd get rid of my currency that's crap. And I would, as people start paying me back in dollars, I would buy as much gold, probably from China and Russia as I could. Well, I can't go to Russia because I'm blocking them. So to avoid that, I'm gonna deal with China, and I'm gonna say, okay, we want to buy some gold from you, and make a deal with them, or from India or somebody else, and that's how you would save the U.S. It's the only way, because there's too much debt. You can't print your way out of it. You can only have gold. Use the gold, then the gold goes up in price to 100,000 an ounce, and there goes my debt's gone. I've solved the problem, and that's all you would need to do. If there was a person with the brain in the government, they would be buying gold. And as he said, the central banks in Europe and England and the US and Canada are not buying gold for some strange reason, called George Soros or Kissinger or whatever these evil idiots are. The JP Morgan, I want to print money, even though it's worthless, is JP Morgan printing it. So that was my first point of World War II was, where's all the people? Then you got to analyze it and then come up with a game plan. That's how I want everybody to think. Why is the money going? Or say, so what did I do, right? I see the money losing value because I understand when you print, you lose value. And that's what's happening now, right? So as you print, you lose value. So what is the solution? What do I do to save myself? And I just told you, you buy gold. So I've been going to the coin store. The only difference is I'm not a multi-billionaire that I can buy a ton of gold, which is 32,000 ounces, and then take a plane to Switzerland and put it in Egon's vault. I can't do that. I don't have that kind of money. So with that said, you have you get out of it. You see the action, you go to the reaction. So that's what I would have done in World War II. There was another piece I thought was in Paris. God, I can't. It was another one of those logic tests that I watched them. There was Paris. There was D-Day. There was Russia. But the biggest factor that happened in World War II was we supplied the Russians with all these tanks and planes. So Russia's going to get annihilated by the Germans if we stay out of it, right? And should we have done that? What's Germany going to do with Russia? Russia's a bunch of nothing, although it did have raw materials. But would we rather have it in Hitler's hands or Stalin's hands, right? So they have the raw materials. They have the oil and the gas and the gold and the diamonds. Do we want Hitler to get that? Maybe we don't want Hitler to get that, but then Stalin gets it. Maybe we should run in there and get it, is what should have happened. So we should have ran in through Alaska and basically watched the Germans kill the Russians, and then we should have taken on the Germans. Sort of like the bowl system, right? Let Georgia and Ohio State fight it out, and then we get the winner off of that. That's probably what we should have done, not what we did do, which was basically we armed the Russians. What did the Russians do? They took over Romania, Hungary, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, and they made them all communists. And that's why when I go visit my friend in Romania or Hungary or any of these, they're all really shitty countries because of economically they were communist, and they're trying to get better. Romania is a nice country now. I imagine Hungary is too, but it was communist for a long time, so they have a long way to go, unfortunately. So those countries were taken over by Russia, which is not part of the plan to have them go there. So again, Russia went down and added countries that they shouldn't have been. They should have been just pushing the Germans back, but part of them went down, took over Romania, Bulgaria, and Hungary. So who are you better? Were you better with Hitler or were you better with Stalin? He murdered people too. They don't like the communists in Romania, I guarantee you that. They want the freedom and everything else. So they didn't like being overtaken by the communists. And we saw communism doesn't work as it went bankrupt in the 80s. But there was one other thing I was watching in the World War II that I said that these guys are idiots. They shouldn't have done it. But I can't think of what the second one was. I'll try to go through it again and try to catch it. But anyway, it's the thought process. When something doesn't look right, you have to then, like, if I invade an island and there's nobody there, I better do some thinking of what do I got to do. It's sort of like Bobby hitting a 100-mile-an-hour pitcher. How do I hit him? It's got to go through Bobby's mind. What do I do to hit him? Or in a football game, you got Dan Marino. What do I do to stop him? And I can't blitz, as the 85 Bears tried to do, and that's why I took Miami in the game. You can't blitz Marino. You've got to play him with the two-man rush. If you would have watched the Pitt-Penn State game the year before, Joe Paterno rushed two guys and covered with 9 against Marino, and Penn State won 48-14 because Marino, once he goes back to pass, there's nothing he can do. I mean, how long is he going to hold the ball for? There's 2 guys rushing, and you got 9 covering, and there's nobody open. So how long are you going to sit back there for 2 minutes? So Penn State knew how to beat them, but what did the Bears? Instead of following that logic, they didn't follow the logic. So that's the big point, and that's the big point of what I do in poker or picking football games, or we'll do it for basketball, is how do I win? That's the first question I ask. How do I win this bet? I know there's going to be a winner and a loser. How do I win it? And that's what I'm asking. And we will see. But how do I win the Super Bowl? Well, what do I have? Oh, I've got explosive Kansas City and explosive Philadelphia. But wait, Philly's got this good defense. No, they don't. It's only against these weak teams. When they played the Bears and they played Dallas, they gave up a lot of points. So they're really not that strong. KC with this strong offense and their weak defense against San Diego, against Oakland, against Buffalo, against Cincinnati. They're all 50-point games. So once you see that, then you can figure out the ending. And that's really what you're trying to do. That's what you're asking yourself. Be it poker, what is he betting on? Be it football, how do I win this game? And that's really what my whole, the whole class is about, is to get you to think and to support it, and action reaction, right? That's been the whole class the whole time. They inflate the money, I buy gold. Because the money's not backed by anything, I buy gold because it's going to be inflated. When the Fed comes out and says, well, we want 2% inflation every year, do you honestly think they can keep it at 2%? Do you honestly think these interest rate hikes are going to lower inflation? No, they keep printing. KC, weak defense gets bailed out by the new GOAT. Yes, I'm not arguing with you, Bobby. Well, Mahomes, I'm not really strong on that GOAT word. I just think Mahomes is a great quarterback. Brady was a great quarterback. Montana was a great quarterback. How do you separate one's better than the other? Well, most people go, well, Brady won 7 Super Bowls, so he's better. Well, that doesn't make you better. It just means you won 7. He also lost 2 Super Bowls to the fucking Giants. Bill Russell won 10 NBA titles. Why isn't he the GOAT? Why is Jordan the GOAT? Jordan could never beat Bird in a series. He was like 0 for 3, and he barely couldn't beat Isaiah. So why is Jordan the GOAT? Oh, well, he won when they retired. So then he won 6 titles. Yeah, but he lost. But nobody's looking at, see, he couldn't even get to the finals because Boston would beat him in the first round 3 times. Detroit would beat him in the first or second round 3 times. So to the finals. So you can't look at his finals record because he couldn't even get there. He couldn't beat Bird in a series. So you're making Jordan the GOAT. I that's why I disagree. You want to call it GOAT a GOAT. I think it's Magic, Kareem, maybe Bird. Wilt was probably the GOAT. If Wilt played today, he'd be the GOAT by a mile, right? But how many people saw NBA basketball in the 60s and 70s? And he didn't win because Boston won. So he can't be any good. He lost to Boston. I mean, it's so stupid. Bobby, do you agree with some so-called analysts saying that cash is king? Absolutely not. Yes, it was joking, Professor. I hate the whole GOAT. Yeah, no, I know, Bobby. That's cool. That whole LeBron MJ GOAT thing is so old. I get annoyed when they bring it up. It's just they want confrontation. See, radio and TV want the confrontation. I want LeBron. I want Bobby Bo. I want Mickey Mantle. Who's the GOAT? I'd vote for you, Bobby, even though you didn't hit 600 home runs. But you were clutch. You were the 4th hitter. You got Barry Bonds all those home runs because they were afraid of you, and they had to pitch to him. But that's what radio does, is do that. Now, what they mean by cash is king is they don't understand that really what they're saying is gold is king. When they said, like, Warren Buffett has $2 billion in cash. Warren Buffett's about to go broke because Warren Buffett, his cash is going to go to 0. Now, what he says by cash is king, what they mean by it is they believe everything's going to drop in value, right? Stock market's going to go down. Housing market's going to crash, which it's already doing. So if you want to buy a house, well, wait till it drops. Then if you have cash, you can buy the house. Or wait till Microsoft goes to $10 a share. Now, if you have cash, you can buy Microsoft. That's what they're meaning by cash is king. But if you think about it, what we're doing is the exact thing we should be doing. We're taking our cash and buying an asset that is very undervalued. We're buying Microsoft at $10 a share when we buy gold and silver. We don't realize what we're doing. I do. That's why I scream at you to buy more and more and more before it goes up. So what you're doing now is cash is king. You found the low asset. You found the asset that's been held down, and you're buying it. And you should be blind to everything else, as they say in Lord of the Rings. Keep Sauron's eye fixed so he doesn't see Frodo. You are doing exactly what you should be doing, cash is king, with gold and silver, as opposed to waiting for a Mercedes that's $100,000 to be $500, and you go, here's your $500, I'll buy it, because people will need money, right? People are desperate for money. They will need money. Therefore, what they're saying is, well, cash is king. If you have cash, you can buy the house cheap and the car cheap and, you know, everything else. But what they don't realize is the gold and the silver are the $100,000 Mercedes for $1,000 is what we're doing right now. But nobody realizes it but us, right? It takes the professor to realize it. And, you know, see, but this is the reason I'm not into crypto. I've got the low-hanging fruit in my face. Why would I deal in crypto? Why would I deal in stocks? Why would I buy a house? I've got the golden goose is sitting right there. The gold and the silver is so cheap right now. Cash is king. Take your cash. You've got the golden goose. Go buy your gold and silver. Specifically, you need more gold, Bobby, really, but buy it. That is exactly why cash is king. And we found the kingdom. The kingdom is gold and silver being suppressed for 50 years. The golden goose is silver at 25 an ounce. That's going to 2,000 and it might go to 10,000. And you can buy it for $25. And I tell you to hurry because I know where it's going, right? I know as the people owning the cash are waiting for the house and the car to come down in value. And Microsoft, we've already got the low value. The gold and the silver is the $500,000 house for $1,000. That we got it. It's right in our face. Silver, gold, buy it. That's the golden goose, and we've got the money in that. It can't go down. It's never gone down in the history of life. It never will. It always has demand. Why does anything go down in value? So we have a baseball card, which is Mark McGwire. Mark McGwire's rookie card, he said an Olympic uniform was $500-$600. Now it's $100. Why? Because he did steroids and nobody voted him in the Hall of Fame. Are you going to have that problem with gold or silver? Don't think so. Are you going to have the problem with Walter Payton? No, if anything, he's dead. If anything, this value goes up, a.k.a. Joe Montana, a.k.a. Michael Jordan. As long as these guys don't do steroids, and he's already dead, so he's gone. Montana's already quit. He's already retired. He's done. Willie Mays and Bobby Bowe and Barry Bonds did steroids. This is the problem. So these steroids guys, that's why they lost their value. In other words, demand dropped. Demand has never dropped for gold and silver. Silver's price is not because there's no demand. The demand's not here for silver. The demand's here for silver. They're keeping the price down. But I'm saying is it's not because there's no demand. So it's phony, it's bullshit, it's price fixing. That's the key to it. Right. So all you can do is just this is the golden goose and just buy it, and you just got to be patient and wait. But most people don't want to. They're all fucking crazy now, and they all, well, you know, I bought it at 10 o'clock. It's noon. Why isn't it up to $1,000 an ounce already, Howard? You said it was going to go to 1,000. It's been 2 hours. I mean, you just have to know it's going to go up, and you have to be patient. And we know it's bricks, and we know it's happening. And that's why I bring in these videos. So he's saying, just give it time. It's going to go. All the West is going out, U.S. and Canada and Europe, and the East, Russia, China, Asia, Hong Kong, South Africa, and Saudi Arabia and Dubai. They're all going to go through the roof. And that's all you need to know. So we need to look for a place to live in Russia or that's why I went to Lisbon. Maybe Lisbon will be okay. I don't know. I know Europe's is getting crushed. So that's our cue. Maybe we go to South America. We go to Costa Rica or someplace that we can survive, but we might have to. I don't want to really go to China, but maybe Russia. I got my girlfriend there, so maybe I go live with. I move there instead of she move here. Although I can't get there because Americans can't fly there, but that's where it's headed. But that's the whole point. People have cash to wait to buy things cheap. But what they fail to understand is what we're winning on two sides. One, we're buying things that are extremely cheap with our cash before our cash loses all its value, and we're buying this cheap stuff before it goes up, gold and silver. What they're not understanding, Warren Buffett, I got $2 billion in cash, and I'm cash is king, and I'm waiting for houses and cars to go down, and I'm going to buy them for nickels on the dollar. What they don't understand is their dollar won't be worth anything either. So he's sitting on $2 billion that it's going to be worth $20. His $2 billion is going to zero. That's what he doesn't understand. That's why I enforce us to buy more now, is because our dollar still has value. Not a lot, as he said, it's gone down 98%, but it can still buy silver for $25 an ounce. Soon it'll still be 25, but it'll just take more dollars because the value of the dollar is dropping. And that's what nobody sees. Nobody understands that the value of the dollar. So we can buy more shit with our dollar now than we're going to buy next year, because the dollar will be worth less in a year, because the more they print, the more it loses its value. That's what Buffett doesn't understand. So at this point, we're better off buying the silver and gold now at the values of the dollars than watching the value of our dollar drop even more. And then, the silver and gold maybe go, maybe they keep it down, but it's not the real price. And that's what I keep bitching about. It's not the real price. It's not supply demand driven. It's fixed down while the demand's high. So what I'm saying is, hey, the demand's through the roof, and it's going to be this cheap. So again, if you can get the Jordan rookie for $1,000 that sells for $1.5 million because JP Morgan's keeping the price down, then go buy it. I mean, so it's really all demand, right? And of course, there's so much demand for gold and silver, but it's not apparent in the U.S. It's Russia, China, India, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, Iran, all these countries, India, are buying it. So we can't just go, well, in the U.S., nobody wants it. It must not be worth anything. We have found the heaven, right? We have found the golden goose. And my advice is to buy as many geese as you can find. You've got the low hanging fruit before your dollar goes to zero. So you're buying it. A, it's cheap, and B, your dollar can only lose value because these idiots keep printing and printing, and they don't understand gold. So they're basically blowing up the U.S., which is why I think China's running the U.S., because it's a competitor, and I get rid of the competitor, although they do need us because they make goods that we buy, right? So if where's my Bellagio? Oh, my coffee. So let's say my phone, right? Well, it's probably made in China. So China needs us to buy their goods. They make everything, but they need somebody to buy. They need a buyer, right? So it's like selling the Bobby Bow tennis shoe. We need buyers for it, even though we can make it for $30 and sell it for $50. At the end of the day, we need buyers. We need the demand that we can sell it for $50. And that's what we got with gold and silver. I might have an idea to help the class. Please, Bobby. You're always welcome. Your ideas, your comments. Let her rip. All right, I wait for Bobby's idea. And if you send it, I don't see it yet, so you might have to make sure you send it in Teaserking code so they won't block it. But anyway, so that's kind of so it's funny how I go from I kind of have a thought that I then expand on it, which is really what it is. So Bobby, you guys can all buy a Bobby Bow rookie card. Well, yeah. Is there demand for it though, Bobby, besides me and you? That's really the problem in your value, is there's no demand for it. Then I can die a week later and it will skyrocket and be rich. So why don't you get a helicopter and you can do a Kobe and you can fly into a wire. What was that about? Was that a murder, or was the pilot just that stupid and he ran into wires? on the helicopter. I'm struggling to understand how the pilot can be that stupid to fly Kobe's daughter with the helicopter into wires and blow it up, right? No, you don't know. Don't go sacrificing yourself. No, go to the Ukraine and get some hot blondes, and you can take them to safety. I did see Poland was getting ready to invade Belarus. So now my girl will not be able to go to Poland anymore, because if they go to war with Belarus and you're leaving the Ukraine because your son's in Poland, are you going to be safe in Poland if getting because that means if Belarus fights them, that means Russia fights them. And I can see Poland. They got fucked in World War II when the Russians and the Germans invaded them, and they ended up where they were totally fucked. And they got divided by Russia and Germany, and then fortunately they got Poland back, and now they're really angry, and they've got this big army, and now they're like, they're not going to let that happen again, which is good for Poland. But we'll see. So there's another World War III is not as far away as you think, everybody. Since value goes through the roof after death, well, yeah. Yes, it's a shame. I had a lot of respect for Kobe, especially after he had that girl in Denver. One of the very few great basketball players left who gave fans their money's worth instead of sitting out for rest and all that prima donna stuff. Yeah, I like Kobe too. I thought he was great. I don't know what his problem was with Shaq. I thought they should have worked it out. To me, it's probably a Shaq problem. Shaq seems to be a little bit weird, but no, whatever. But they did win 3 titles together, so that was good. Yeah, I know all the Kobe cards went up in value. I got about 4 or 5 of his rookie cards, and I wasn't a big basketball collector. I got a lot in the 90s, but I got all the Pro Set and the hoops, and they don't have value. And then I think the biggest value I got is the 86 and 87 Flair was where I got. I missed out on the Magic Bird little the 3-shot cards. I think when I started collecting, it was like $100, and I was not about to spend $100 on cards. So I always bought the cheap ones, and then so I probably missed that in the Jordan rookie. However, I did get a lot of 86 Flares, but I didn't get that. There's a Magic Johnson card that I have, but I can't seem to find it. It's his 81 tops. It has a little sun on it, and I have 2 of them. I don't know the condition. I got them out of a pack. I bought a pack of 81, and I think I got a cream. And I got 2 Magics. Magic's going for $16,000 as a PSA 10, and I'm going through my boxes, and I'm like, I can't find it. Then I got an Albert Pujols. No offense, Bobby. I got an Albert Pujols rookie card that's worth $5,000 or $6,000, and I can't find it anywhere. And I'm like, I thought it would be in my baseball box. I go through my baseball box. I know I took all my good cards. The question is, where did I put this card? And so I'm going through my stuff again. I got so much shit. I'm going through that again, looking, where's my Albert Pujols rookie card that's $5,000. Now that he hit 700 home runs or whatever he hit. So I'm looking for that. Anyway, Bobby, a lot of players just get paid way too much. For instance, I saw highlights of last night's Laker-Dallas game, and Kyrie and Luka were all laughing with LeBron after a loss, like they didn't even care. They don't care. That's the problem. There's no passion in the game. These guys are way overpaid. I don't know what they make basketball. Anybody makes $10, $15 million for playing basketball, it's ridiculous. Same thing with a quarterback in football to make $30 million. Like, you're going to pay Daniel Jones $30 million. You're paying Lamar $50 million for what? So he can get injured and go 7-7 and not win a playoff game. I mean, you don't need to pay Lamar that. Lamar, LeBron, the name. Yeah, Pujols was a damn beast when he came out. Thought he'd be the one to break. Well, it was weird. He did a lot at St. Louis, and then he go to California. So he probably should have went to the. If he really wanted to do that, he probably should have went to the Cubs, where it was a close fence, or one of these close fence ballparks. That's the problem with Tiger Stadium. It's such a deep. So here's the idiots running the Tigers. You have this ballpark with the deep in outfield, right? Nobody can hit home runs there. So my point would be to get pitchers and defense. They don't do that. They don't get pitchers. They don't get defense. They get a bunch of 130 hitters who are going to walk all the time because nobody can hit the ball that far. So now they're thinking of bringing in fences. And then I heard how that's going to move to more 300 hitters. And I go, what does that have to do with 300 hitters? 300 hitters or 300, like let's take Wade Boggs would hit 300 now, wouldn't he? I mean, why wouldn't Wade Boggs hit 300? Why wouldn't you play Wade Boggs because he got a lot of hits, or Rod Carew? What the fuck are you talking about? Why would Rod Carew not hit 300 right now? Why would you not have this guy on your team? So you're just ignoring Rod Carew's because he's not a home run hitter? What the fuck is that all about? Who's the idiots in charge? It was like when Golden State won the titles, and it was like everything was a 3-point shot. I was watching a little bit of a game Sunday, and it was they were driving in the paint and everything. So it was pretty normal basketball. But you got to be kidding. So if I got Rod Carew or Wade Boggs or Tony Gwynn, I'm not going to sign him because he can only hit 320, but he can't hit a home run. The fuck do I care about home? Why is that such the thing? See, this is the Moneyball thing, which I do not agree with. I just watched it, and the idiot from Harvard who doesn't play says, well, we're trying to get runs. That's not how you win, right? What does the professor teach you about football? It's about the defense, right? You got a Georgia defense is how you win. So if you have in baseball very strong pitching and a very Earl Weaver, Baltimore Oriole defense, Brooks Robinson, Mark Belanger, Paul Blair, if you have that, you win. How many times did Earl Weaver go in the World Series with Palmer, McNally, Cuellar, and Dobson? 4 20-game winners. You'll never get that now because you don't have a guy winning 10 games because he only plays 5 innings. I mean, the whole thing is just, it's like brain dead. It's like, did you not watch baseball in the 70s, 80s, and 90s? Like, it's like all new. Like, these guys don't know. It's like football. They're just clueless. Oh, we'll go for 4th down, and if we don't make it, we'll leave them with bad field position at our own 30. It's insanely mind-blowing watching these sports. That's my advantage of being older. I know what to look for, but when I see this garbage, I'm ready to throw up. Like, what are you guys doing? You don't go for it on 4th down at your own 30. Vince Lombardi would be rolling over in his grave if he saw that. You don't do that. Chuck Noll, you think he ever did it? Shit, just that one time in the Super Bowl because he was worried about a blocked punt, not because he thought he's going to get it. So a lot of things, that's why you look at the history. God, I wish I could think of that other thing in that World War II thing. It was another logic thing. I mean, even look at Dunkirk. Hitler's got him down, and he says, let's take a break. And then the Air Force will take over, and then it got cloudy, and the Air Force couldn't take over. You got them all on the beach. Just end it. Like, what are you doing? So he caused himself the war, but the biggest question it might be the Russia question. So the question I have, if I'm Germany, why am I attacking Russia? Why am I going into St. Petersburg? why didn't I get Russia in the beginning of why did I even go east? Why didn't I go get Russia? Russia didn't even have an army, didn't have any military till the U.S. made all the tanks and planes for them in 40, I'm going to say 42 or 43, whenever that invasion happened. Excuse me, I don't know the exact date. But if Germany would have went in 1939 or 40 when they first started, instead of invading France, invaded Russia, they win the war because Russia can't defend themselves. Then they can go back into France. And then I have, the other problem I have is with France. France has the best army in the world, but they don't want to fight to go back through World War I. So they kind of lay down. And my whole point is, as they're doing, that's what it was. So as they're getting their, no, I can't think of the word. As they're regenerating, as they're freeing Paris, let's say, so they're freeing France from Germany. All they had to do was, as soon as Germany took the Rhineland, just stop them. You wouldn't have lost anybody, right? You would have lost you'd have just shown up with your tanks and planes and said, no, you are under orders. You signed that declaration of war, of surrender. You can't have a military. We're going to stop you now. All they had to do was do that, and it would have never been World War II. That's what it was. It was get it early. That's what I was thinking. And I related that to the gold and silver. That's where my thought process was. So all France had to do was, when Germany wanted the Rhineland, say no. And there was people who knew Hitler. Same thing with England. When they signed with Chamberlain and he signed the pact, there was spies in Germany that said he's not going to honor it. He's still going to go, and he wants war. And he told the British, he told Churchill, and Churchill, no, he told Chamberlain, and Chamberlain didn't do anything. All Chamberlain had to do was stop him at that point, say no, and then just show up with military. That would have ended the war. Nobody dies, right? Not all this concentration camps, not all this other bullshit. Never would have happened. It's as soon as you saw it, you would have done something about it. And the same with the French. All they had to do was see them mobilize, and they would have said, no, you can't. That would have ended it. But because you didn't do anything, Hitler kept going, because he said, well, fuck, they're not doing anything. Fuck, they're not doing anything. They're letting me, I'm in the Rhineland. I'm in Czechoslovakia. I'm in Austria. Nobody's doing anything. I guess I can keep going. All you had to do is stand up to them in the Rhineland, and that would have been it. There wouldn't have been a World War II. And that comes back to gold and silver. Everything comes back to gold and silver, right? So if we see silver at 25 an ounce, all you have to do is buy. It's sitting there waiting for you to buy. If you can understand, it's going to 2000, right? Oh, Howard, it's not going to 2000. Yeah. And Hitler wasn't going to invade World War II either, right? He just went to the Rhineland to get his people back, because they're really Germans anyway. He's not going to go to war. Oh, okay. And so if you see something so obvious, if you see silver at 25 and gold at 2000, even if you can't afford the two, you buy quarter ounces or something. It's $5.50. Go buy a bunch of quarter ounces for $5.50. What the fuck? It's all, if it goes to 50, that goes to 10 grand. You bought it for 500 in the silver. So, I mean, it's sitting. So it's so obvious right now what to do. You just got to do it. Just like in World War II. So if France would have stood up to them, they wouldn't be trying to free Paris after the war, when it's all been occupied by Germany. I think it was from 38 to 42 or something like that, or 40 to 44. That was 4 years, and occupied by the Germans. And at the end, the orders from Hitler were to destroy Paris. So when they were liberating, that's the word, when they were liberating Paris from the Germans, Hitler gave the order to blow up Paris. It was like, fine, if we can't have it, blow it up. And there was another movie I watched in Norway where they had the iron ore that Germany wanted, and Norway defended it. And so Hitler blew up this city in Norway, because they beat them, right? So it's like, if we can't win, we're going to blow it up. So that's what he was going to do in Paris. You're kicking us out. We're going to blow you up. It never got, it was supposed to get there. The general said, yes, I will blow it up, but then he never did. So he was a good guy, if you can call a Nazi a good guy. How about the whole tax thing, Professor? Will we have to pay a few thousand in taxes on our big gains? Well, okay, Bobby. From what I understand, and I'm not a tax expert, don't hold me to it. This is my understanding after doing research. If you bought the U.S. Eagle gold, no, you won't have to pay any taxes. I kind of think if you bought any of the gold, you didn't have to pay. That's how I read it, that you didn't have to pay tax on those 1 ounces. From what I understand, it's only if it's more than $10,000. So if silver hits 2,000, I would probably only try to sell 4 of them for $8,000 and not worry about the tax. The second thing is, since I'm kind of retired but still looking for work because I still want to make money, I got more gold to buy. I'm just in the middle right now. Again, it's based on your income. So if I'm retired and gold goes to $50,000 an ounce tomorrow and I go sell it, I do my tax return, I made zero income, I'm only paying a few $100s in tax anyway. If I make $100,000, then I would pay much more in tax. Now, I'm not sure if it's the American Eagles, you don't pay tax on it or not. I know that's what they're trying to do. As he said, they're not going to compensate us, so you don't have to worry about that. They're going to just do the taxes, right? They're going to 1099 you, but that's only when you sell it. And how much are you going to sell? You might go and buy a house or a car. You might go to Mercedes and say, here's an ounce of gold, and the guy's going to take it. You're not going to get taxed on that because you didn't sell it. You just bought something with it. So that's what you're going to try to do. So the best way to not tax it is find a limit, which I think is 10,000, and sell 9,999 so you don't get taxed, even if you have to do 3 or 4 times for your $50,000. And then it's based on your income. So you're a retired baseball player, your income must be zero because you don't need money, right? You've got your money in your retirement account or however you've got your money. You're not actually going to work and getting taxed and making money. You're got investments, but that's not really making money. So it's based on how much income you have is the 1099 tax. So the tax, it's 28% if you're making $100,000. But as I showed you, it's if you make $1,000, it's like 1%. So if you made $50,000 on your gold, you pay $300-400 in tax. Okay, I bought it for $2,000. I sold it for $48,000. Okay, I pay $500 in tax. The other alternative is to either go to Canada or go to Switzerland and sell it. And then we'll have to see. I would think if I went to Switzerland and I wanted to sell an ounce of gold and they give me $50,000 for it, let's say they give me a check, but I'm at wherever Egon's at. So I don't know if I'm at a bank or a gold place and they give me a check. I'm going to open up an account and I'm going to say thank you and put the 50 in my account. Now, this is Switzerland. They can't tax. I'm not a Swiss citizen. I'm a U.S. citizen, but they can't tax me as if and they're not going to 1099 me because that's a U.S. thing and they're Switzerland. So I don't know if Switzerland will have their own tax on me or not. Something we'll have to find out. But I believe I can go there and say, here, I want to sell this ounce of gold for $50,000. They give me the $50,000. I don't want to carry it around. So I open up a bank account there or some account, shove my money in there. And then the question is, why did I sell it? I don't just sell it to sell it. I'd rather keep it in gold. So the object really, Bobby, is to keep the money in the gold and silver. You don't really want to exchange it. It's just if you need to exchange it for something. If you want to buy a new house or a new car, You're just going to give them the gold, right? You're going to give the owner of the house who is not ready, who did not see the golden goose, gold and silver, sitting there. He's going to need to eat. He needs money, right? He's Warren Buffett. He's got $2 billion of worthless cash. He needs something that has value. Gold has value. So you go say, I'll give you an ounce of gold for your house. If that's what you wanted, if that's what your plan is, and then you give them. So you're probably going to buy something directly with the gold or silver. That's the intent. Now you're not going to go to Kroger's with your silver. Then you're going to need the middleman. You're going to have to sell it because it'll be worth $2,000. What are you going to do at Kroger's? You're going to do 500. You're going to do $80 worth of grocery shopping. Well, with $80, you don't want to give somebody a $2,000 coin for $80. So you get this in lieu, so you can then buy it. Not sure about this electric. The problem with the electric currency or digital currency, let's call it electrical. I don't like digital. I don't understand it. So let's call it electric money. Just to be different, because I'm the professor and I, of course, am different. So we got electric money. So if I sell my gold or my silver, so you sell your $2,000 ounce of silver, how does that get into the electric money account if we have electric money? How would you put it into your Bitcoin, right? I get the money. Now I'm going to put it into my electric crypto account. How do I get the money in? Because there's no bank. See, this is where I get confused and why I don't care about it and want to go there is, all right, I sell the paying card for $700. I want to put it in my crypto electric account. How do I get the money into the account? Now, I assume you put in your bank account so the money's in my bank, and then it must be a transfer of take it from my Comerica account into my Bitcoin account or crypto electric account. Well, what if we don't have bank accounts? We have electric accounts. How do I get the money into the how do you pay for this card? How do I sell my silver? The guy's going to pay me in electric money. What if he doesn't have I mean, the whole thing's so stupid. INFJ are different. INFJs we are wizards. We are Gandalf the White. We are very, very intuitive, but very, very high level thinkers. And that thought of had France stop Germany at the Rhineland, only me and you can think of that, right? That's why they couldn't think of that. Or in Japan, in Okinawa, when the guy gets on the beach and there's nobody there, only me and you can think of, well, where are they? Oh, they must be underground. We'll starve them out. We'll blow up the entrances, or when they leave, we'll kill them, and not just walk around like they're not here. They lost like 30, 40,000 men there. You shouldn't have lost any. You should have just waited for them to come out. Be patient. Just like gold and silver. Just be patient. It'll come to us. So, but only we can think like that, obviously, because this fucking general is an idiot, starts bombing nothing, right? It's just like sending bombs in Jenna's backyard in the Ukraine. A missile hits you're not killing, you're just sending a bomb into a field, into a backyard. The fuck are you doing? And that's, so you have to be patient, but you have to be intelligent. And that's where we excel, Bobby, is that thinking. When I think the football game, and you're intuitive too, it's does what makes sense. When you're at a poker table and the guy, there's 3 clubs and 2 of diamonds hits the river and the guy bets $100, it doesn't make sense, right? He's bluffing. It doesn't make sense. It couldn't have helped him. Oh, he's sitting with the pair of 2s betting and now the third 2 hit? No, it doesn't make sense. So that's what we are good at, like, is figuring and going, like, now I'm telling you, the dollar, the Warren Buffett cash is king, waiting for these assets to drop. When you have the dropped asset, Warren Buffett should take the $2 billion and buy gold and silver with it, but he's too stupid to do that. He doesn't understand it. Although for some reason he owns silver, but he does it for the wrong reasons. He owns silver because he thinks he thinks silver is a productive asset. It's not an asset of charging my phone. Silver is not, it's cash, it's money. We're buying it because it's money, not because it's used in telephones and computers. That's not why we're buying silver. Gold's not even used in anything, it's too expensive. That's not why we're buying gold. Gold is money and silver is money, is why we're buying it. It's an asset. We're buying money cheap because we know the money's going to go up. We're just got to be patient and wait for it, like they should have done in Japan when they're all coming out of their holes, or like Vietnam when they all these Asians, Vietnam, Korea, they all dig tunnels and hide in the tunnels, right? But they know that's the only way they can win. When you get idiots like the U.S. bombing them, and you're bombing I'm 20 feet underneath, your bombs aren't going to hurt me. Even Hitler had a bunker. He had 7 exits. That's how, so give him a little credit. Clearly escaped. Clearly wasn't there. He burns the body. I love how they try to make excuses. Well, he burned the body. Why would he burn it? And then he didn't want to get caught by the Russians. Do you think he's that stupid that he's going to wait in the bunker till the Russians are, oh, yeah, well, they're a half mile away. I can see the tanks. Okay, I better leave now. What are you kidding me? Shit, the guy was gone a week before. He took the submarine to Argentina. And they were in Argentina that saw him there. They saw the submarine. It's all documented. 2 years later, they're sending the FBI to look for him in Argentina because he was spotted. Yeah, he died in the bunker. Yeah, okay. Not an INFJ will not take that shit. We don't take 9/11. We understand. We go through and go, it's a gold ice. We go through, there's no way we landed on the moon. It doesn't make sense. It's the two of diamonds. It doesn't make sense. That's how we think. That's why nobody gets us a lot, is because they can't see the move we make. It doesn't make sense to them because they can't think like us. That's our biggest advantage, Bobby, is we think on a different level than everybody else. But that's what makes, at least me, a very good football handicapper, and how to explain economics, how everything fits in. They call analyzing overthinking, and we're conspiracy theorists because we're smart enough to hear bullshit and realize it's bullshit. So now we're conspiracy theorists. So people that are stupid that don't understand call it a conspiracy. Oh, if you don't believe what the government said, why would anybody be stupid enough to believe what the government tells you? When has the government told you the truth? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God. And I don't mean that as any disrespect to anyone, just, now you're being an INFJ, stating what I see around me, even the ones I care for and look out for. So you mean we shouldn't sit around and looking for a certain price to my metals and just keep stacking? By the way, I did another 21-hour fast today. It's good you're doing them, but that should be your normal day should be an 8. It should be eat at 6, eat at noon. Eat at 6, eat at noon. And you can snack at 2, 3 o'clock, have a salad, have cauliflower, a chili, a soup, something with no carbs and no high fructose corn syrup. That's fine. I don't mean, that's what an INFJ does. And I don't mean that as any disrespect to anyone. You're trying to make nice and make sure people don't misunderstand you, and you're afraid you hurt somebody's feelings or that. That's an INFJ. And but that's exactly what I try to do. And when I'm explaining digital currencies, because I need you to understand what it is. Or when I explain gold and silver, or I show you Egon, I'm trying to like say, look, I said it and you should believe it. But you know what? Here's an Austrian economist who runs a Swiss bank, Credit Suisse. Let him tell you the same thing I've been telling you. And then you can go, oh, yeah. And, you know, and again, I'm getting some information by watching him. Bobby asked, do I watch economics? Do I do economics every day? And that's the answer. Yes. If I see this video or my other guys, my Alistair McLean and Andrew McLeod, or vice versa, if I see them, I watch it and I try to pick up stuff. And it's funny though, you hear Egon, now go listen to Peter Schiff or Rick Rule or Eckert or any of these bubble-headed American guys, and they can't explain it at all. They're clueless. And if I have to see that one guy, Andy Scheckman again, saying, "Oh, the supply of silver is low," da 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 da, versus Egon and Alistair and Andrew. I mean, that's why I really can't watch those guys. And I usually give them negative comments because they say the same fucking thing every time. And like Bobby's upset at all this LeBron shit. I'm upset. It's like, yeah, we know the supply on gold's low. Quit repeating yourself. You're a fucking salesman. You own this this place selling gold and silver. You're a fucking salesman. You're not an economist. I bitch because I am an economist. That's what I am. I get frustrated when people, when I'm at Toyota and I'm telling people to sell their stocks and they don't listen to me, I get frustrated. I go, you do know I'm an economist. You have an economist telling you what to do and you don't want to listen to it. Okay, go fuck yourself. I mean, that's an INFJ. I want to help you. I don't consider you guys my friends at Toyota, not here. So when I tell you, when I'm trying to protect you, we're casual. We're not really friends. You don't ask me out. You know, I'm come Detroit alone, but you don't ask me out. Okay, that's fine. But at the end of the day, okay, I'm going to be helpful for you. You need, like the first week I was there, I was telling the controller, you need to buy a bunch of silver because silver's out, man, and silver price is going to go through the roof. So I would buy a lot of silver now. And his response was, well, Toyota corporate buys it all. And I'm saying, I don't give a shit who buys it all. You need to buy more of it because it's out and you need it for your electric batteries in these cars you're going to use. You can't sell the car without the battery, and you can't get the battery without the silver. So 2 and 2 makes 4. So that's an INFJ. But that's that's an INFJ, that fourth comment up. I don't mean that as any disrespect. So you mean we shouldn't sit around and looking for a certain price to my metal? It's just, yeah, because the real price of the metal is, okay, Aegon says 666, professor says 2,000. Let's just say it's more than, let's say $700, okay? What are you doing? What certain price are you looking for? It's it's not even $21 today, which means you can probably get it for $24, $25. Who cares? You don't care what the price is. You're not income averaging. This isn't a stock. This is about buying the metal. This is about, what do I say? I own 460 ounces of silver. That's what this is about. How much silver do you own? It doesn't matter, eagle or cougaran or kangaroo. It's how much silver do you own, not what I bought it at. What you bought it at's irrelevant. It's how many ounces do you have. That's why I got that 10-ounce bar. I bought 10 ounces because that was all he had. He didn't have anything. So I bought the 10-ounce bar because I wanted 10 ounces of silver, because this is priced in ounce. Silver and gold are priced in ounce. So all you care about is how many ounces do you have. 32,000 ounces make a ton. Boy, I'd love to buy a ton of gold. I mean, if I was Warren Buffett, that's exactly what I'd be. I'd be buying one of those fucking James Bond Goldfinger bars, those big ones that he played golf with. That's what I'd be buying. What good is $2 billion in cash that's going to zero when you could buy $2 billion worth of gold right now? It's a no-brainer. It can't lose. if you need to sell it, you sell it. But how can you lose? Oh, I want to buy a house. Use one of the bricks to buy a house. Oh, I want to buy a car. I want to buy a boat. You got the gold to buy it with. He's such an idiot. This shows you how stupid the man is, because he's stuck in currency going to zero. He doesn't understand that. Where people, if you buy the gold, you can use that to buy the house, the car, whatever you want, the island. Me and Bobby will be somewhere in Asia, because they'll be the only free people, or we'll go down, I guess, to Central America. I'm not sure where we're going, Bobby, but that's where you got to get out of the U.S. and Canada, Europe. Maybe we can go to Portugal. I don't know. Let's see. By the way, you did another 21-hour fast. I'd like to see you at one point do it. Don't stop at 21. I'd like to see you one day, instead of eating at 6 and at noon, your normal. I do that every day, Bobby, where I'm done at 7 and then I eat at noon. I don't eat till noon. I'm doing an 17, 18-hour fast every day. That's what I do. That's why I just maintain my weight and I maintain my health, because no matter, even if I eat a slice of pumpkin pie or an ice cream, it's still 18 hours. Like, if I eat it, I'm going to eat it now in my open window. It's 3 o'clock. I can have that now. I can't have it at 7:30, 8 o'clock, but I can eat it now and then just give that 18 hours, and then whatever I ate is gone, because the little guy cleaned me up. But what you should get to, Bobby, is skip that day. So instead of 21, you add another. You do a 45, right? Not just once every month too, and then you'll really see it. Then the 18-hour, 21-hour fasts are fine. I know why you're doing 21. You want the autography. Did you have a chance to watch our doctor explain autography for you? I showed you that video yesterday. I would easily be able to hit the 18 and eat at noon, but breakfast gives me such a big boost, Professor. What do you mean? Oh, so you eat at 10 o'clock. Well, it doesn't matter. You just have coffee, tea, or water. Mentally, you just get. Mentally, I just go, oh, is it noon yet? Oh, okay, now I can eat. So at 10 o'clock, I'm watching economics. I'm talking to my girls. I'm not doing, I'm not thinking of food. I'll have a coffee or tea. Then it's like, oh, it's noon, I can eat. That's how I do it. And I'm fine. I'm awake. Now that I'm not working, I'm like, I get up at 8, 9 o'clock, and I turn on Netflix or YouTube on here in the bed, and I just, it's 11 o'clock. I'll get ready for the show. And then 12 o'clock, okay, let's eat the avocado and everything, and let's go. So that's kind of how I look at it. But I don't think of eating at 8, 9, 10 o'clock. But I guess it's your schedule. I mean, if you want to eat at 4 and 10, that's it doesn't matter. It's long as, but that's your window. So you have to stop it at 4 o'clock. I do 7 because normally if I'm working, you get off work at 5, and then, if you got to drive, you don't get home till 5:30. So you got to relax a little, and then you eat. You're going to eat at 6:30. That's why it's a 7. But that's that's a 9 to 5 diet. Like now I'm not eating. I can easily eat. Like now I could eat at 3:30 and not eat after now, but I'm still not going to eat till noon. That's why on days like this, if I eat now, and then I go to the club and work out, and I go to the lake and walk, then I wake up and I wait, and it's noon, I can easily go much longer. Then it's like you're saying, 21 hours, or I can even not eat tomorrow and then eat, and it's 3 o'clock, wait till 6, and I've done a 48-hour fast. So that's it should just be a mental, is it noon? No. Or in your case, is it 10? But it doesn't matter. If you moved it back to 11, you wouldn't notice it. It's just the trigger that goes off, like, can I eat? No? Okay. Can I eat? Yes? Okay. Bobby, that reminds me about to start slicing up the avocado to eat with my bison and jasmine rice. There you go. Now, how do you cook the bison? Like a steak, like meat, I guess? It's the same thing. So I don't know. I gotta look at my store if he has bison. I don't think the one grocery store does. There's another more specialty one. He might have bison, but I'm sure he's expensive. He's a little more expensive, and at this time, I'm not venturing. I don't need to pay more. I need to pay less. So it's funny. I did see ribs at the Target place or the Meyer place, the cheaper one, where I don't normally buy my meat. I usually buy the better quality meat at a good price at the higher price grocery store. My one girlfriend here goes to me. She says, "Oh, you're shopping at Bush's. That's the rich store." And I go, "I only get the meat that's on sale when I go. I don't buy anything else there. Who wants to spend $2 more on broccoli or cantaloupe or honeydew or salad? My Ken salad dressing I showed you. I normally get $2.99 at Walmart. Is like $3.99 at Bush's. Why the fuck would I spend $1 more at one grocery store when I can go to the other grocery store for $2.99? And it's not like you go to this grocery store so often that it's just it's not like I go, on Sundays I'm going to the grocery store and I won't go till next Sunday. I mean, that doesn't happen. So that's where I'm at with that. So yeah, well, I tend to eat the avocado first. That's kind of breakfast, right? So the first thing I eat is the avocado, and then I might have tea or coffee with it. And then I get to, like today, I had the avocado at, I think it was 12. And then I made my omelet. And I put a lot of mushrooms and a lot of yellow peppers and some broccoli in it and mushrooms, right? And some onions. I put a lot of onions in it. And I just let them cook for about 5 minutes. And then I scramble my eggs. And it's a 3-egg omelet. And then I pour the eggs over all the veggies. And I let it cook. And that's such a healthy. I'm getting my veggies and I'm getting my egg, my protein at the same time. And I'll tell you, I don't get hungry for a long time, and it's so healthy, and there's no carb. I'm not having a bagel with it or Raisin Bran or yogurt. All that's bad. The yogurts are bad for you. But all the cereal and the bread and the bagels, I don't eat that. Now, I will once in a blue moon on a Sunday have a bagel, but it's between 12 and 7 when I'm eating. I'm not eating at 8:30 in the morning unless I'm on vacation. So if me and Jenna go to Europe, I meet her, and the hotel serving breakfast is the only time we've got to eat by 10. And even then, I try to take like some apples and oranges back to the room and some others, whatever's there. I can't really take the bacon and eggs I eat there. But even the meat, I can put in a napkin a bunch of roast beef or ham or chicken or turkey, and put that in, and then take broccoli and cauliflower and celery, and I can put that in a napkin and eat that in the afternoon. 2 o'clock, I'm hungry. Okay, I got a whole fucking lunch because of what I had at breakfast. And so I'm almost eating 2 meals with the buffet, and then we go out for a nice dinner. And then she nags at me because I have a spot on my shirt. Now, to answer the question about being, there's a question came up about getting taken advantage of. And to show you I don't, so I help Jenna with food. But when we're together, she sees that my clothes need to be ironed. She irons them, right? She takes my shirt, takes my shorts or my pants, and she fucking irons them. Because she wants to be out with a good-looking guy. She wants me to look good. So if I'm being taken advantage of, I don't see that. And I'm sure my Russian girl will do the same thing because they're into looks. All girls are into look. They always want to look good because they want to be proud of their man. Look at the girl he's with. That's what these girls do. So they always put their makeup and look good because they want to make everybody proud of me that I'm with this girl. And it took me a while, but anyway, so that's kind of what what's happening. But yes, you want it's a balance of how much money you need versus how much more money can you buy gold and silver with now. We've got the low. I love when the light goes on. We've got the low asset. We've got the car at $1,000. We've got we've got the Corvette or the Mercedes at $1,000 with the gold and silver. But people are being blindsided because you got to understand JP Morgan's keeping the price down. So this is an incredible opportunity we have. But nobody understands it because they're all going, I don't like gold. And look, it doesn't move. Look how low it is. Why would gold not move when fucking Raisin Bran is moving and Oreo cookies are moving and Coca-Cola at the grocery store is all gone from $1.50 to $2.99, but gold doesn't move? And are you not asking that question? Really? Bobby. Oh, yeah, that was your buddy. Yeah, I know. But we won't see him anymore. That won't, I didn't appreciate, well, you didn't buy Bitcoin. And I thought about that and I go, yeah, I don't understand it. Why would I buy something I don't understand? Because that's what I promote. Why would I get into Madoff, who gives you a 15% return, but he can't explain it? I won't get into it because I don't understand it. I'm only investing in what I understand. I only play craps, but I know how to play. I know how to play poker, so I'll play it. I know how to play blackjack. I know how to play backrack, so I play it. If I don't know how to play pie guy poker, I don't play it. I only talk about what I know. I don't understand. I'm not a lawyer. I can't really talk about taxes. I can't really talk about legal stuff because that's not what I know. I can talk about this though, and I can talk gold and silver and Austrian economics and football and poker and da 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 da. So to get, I thought it was extremely out of line to say, well, you didn't make money on crypto, like he was like, I did and you didn't, like I'm smarter than you type of thing is how I took it. And I thought that was very off color for what I do here and how much money I make you guys and everything. All this is extremely valuable. And go on Peter Schiff and see if he has a live show or any of these morons, right? Nobody has a live show. You can actually ask the economist, ask the economist, where else are you going to find this? You can't find this information anywhere where somebody's going to teach you. You have access to the teacher. Where else? Go to college. How much are you going to pay for that class? Try to do it on the internet. Go on whatever. How much are you going to pay for that? I'm not charging you anything. So I thought it was insulting to say, like, I'm the only one who didn't make money on Bitcoin. I had no desire to. I could have. I didn't understand it. Still don't understand the value, and I'm not going to do it. And I think it'll end at zero. That's my personal opinion. And I got gold and silver, but he doesn't have the patience or the understanding to own it. So therefore, that's what he's doing. And I'm sitting there going, no. As I just explained, just wait. This is the low hanging fruit. This is the $100,000 car that we can get for $1,000. That's what I'm saying, and it's all going to go. And we got this fabulous opportunity, but most people don't even understand it because they see the price low. So that's that. That's why. So, but that's what I'm trying to. But I try to explain it again, being an INFJ, instead of just saying buy gold and silver, because I'm actually explaining because of the inflation and all the other stuff. But that it's type of people like that I don't hang around with. I don't. That's why I ask at poker or in the hot tub, or like, are you into gold? And if they're not, I end the conversation. I won't even talk to the communist anymore. What am I going to ask him about Joe Stalin or let's go to Cuba? He thinks Cuba's fine. Cuba's not fine. But I said, look at Cuba, like it's communist. And I said, look at Russia, it's communist. Oh, Russia's not communist. Oh, what the fuck is Russia? It's not communist. You got Putin, you got a dictator running it. Okay, so what are they? They're Hitler, they're Nazi Germany. They're far from capitalist, and they're far from, they probably have a little Austrian economics because they're smart enough to buy gold. But that's the point. So once I realize you're not into gold, I can either try to convince you to buy it, or I can say it's just a waste of time, just like communism. I can sit there and I can talk to the communists and try to explain capitalism, or I can save my breath and not get frustrated and wait to talk to somebody who is who understands gold, or at least wants to get educated in it, and more like-minded people that I can do. So that's much more now with the girls. I don't talk gold and silver. Well, I give Jenna gold and silver, whether she understands it or not. She knows it's got value, and I told her don't sell it now, wait for the price to go up, and she says I'm not going to sell it now. So she understands at least enough that she knows it's valuable. She knows to listen to me, that it's going up. We don't really have a conversation in it, which is fine. We don't need a conversation in it. But she doesn't come across I'm a communism. And she wears a shirt that says I'm Ukrainian, so she's got a lot of pride. She's I think she's very intelligent, but what am I going to tell? I mean, it's hard to talk economics to her, but that's okay. I'm not trying to. But if I'm in a hot tub or at poker, I'm curious if I can talk to you. What do you think of the economy? Where do you have money in Bitcoin? And if they say, yeah, I run away. And if they say, no, I'm in gold, then now some people might say they're in gold and not be in gold just so they don't hear from me. But like I said, the guy at the sports book, we're talking gold. He was extremely interested in it. A little bit into it. And I just said, buy it, go to 5 Mile and Haggerty and go to the coin store there and go buy your silver. And I could see his eyes were open. But I don't know his name. I don't want to know his name. I'm helping the guy, right? Go buy it. So that's really the point of that. But we have the low hanging fruit that you wait, like cash is king. I'm waiting for things to get cheap to buy. You have it. You have the perfect item, the gold and the silver. You couldn't have a more perfect item than that. That's cheap going up. That's being held down. It's like we're waiting for you. You know, we're waiting for you to buy silver. It's $25 an ounce. We're waiting. Come on, Bobby, buy more, buy more. And it's just waiting for you. And it's still waiting. It's the long train where you're waiting for it to go, right? Okay, it's 10 minutes. When's the train going to move? That's about what you're doing right now. But you know you're on the train and you know it's going to move. And that's really the key to it. So anyway, interesting how I can parallel World War II to gold, but it's exactly what it is. All the French had to do was stop them in the beginning at the Rhineland, and they wouldn't have gotten wiped out a couple months or years later when Germany invaded. And then when they kicked Germany out, they liberated Paris and they lost more people. You would have avoided all that if you would have just done what was right in the beginning, just putting opposition out, going, hey, you can't have an army. That's it. If they just would have done that, there would never have been World War II. The class was now caught up that you expelled. Yeah. Well, pretty much. I did go a little bit different, like the World War II stuff, but really I just wanted to re-show Egon. I think it was valuable to show that video twice. I'm 2 hours and 38 minutes. You come in, I don't know how many people are watching the full show. So if I re-show it, and especially in the beginning, oh, there he is. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then we get off into other subjects now. But because it's live, that's what we want to do. So you think metals move this year in a big way? Well, that's the question, Bobby. You can't you can't ask that question that way because there's no answer to it. They will go up. When it happens, we need the trigger. In other words, Germany went into the Rhineland, I think was like 38. And it was like 2 years later when they finally invaded Poland and Czechoslovakia and Austria. They didn't invade Austria. They just walked in. So when did the war actually start? Well, they had the Olympics in 36, and they were protesting the Jews and all this other, but they didn't start the war at all, I believe, 39. So you would have been back. Well, so when are we starting the war? You said they're starting the war. When are they starting? So it's you can't really. We know it's going up. We don't. That's not really the right question. I get why you're asking the question, but it's not the right question to ask. It's just you have to have the faith and confidence that it's going to move, and hopefully it's in 3 weeks, or my birthday's March 7th. Hopefully March 8th. Hopefully that's my birthday present. All my gold turns into 50,000 an ounce. I don't know, but I can't say this date. Now we can think. I heard the summer. Who knows? Who knows what's going to trigger it? And that's really the key. But we all see, it's coming. The tidal wave's coming. When does it hit land? Well, we're not sure, but it should be soon. I would think, like I said, Super Bowl came and went. Nothing major happened yet. Now we'll look at let's look at summertime. Let's look at June. It's travel time. Let's see what happens then. But there's no answer because we don't know the cause of the kick, right? Hitler invades Poland, starts World War II. Something will, the U.S. sanctions the wrong team. They sanction Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia says, fuck you, and then sells all their oil to China, which is what they're doing now. Once that's more out in the open, but it's already being done. Once that happens, it's really when the light goes on. Once people realize that the dollar's worthless, she's the fat, ugly girl in the bar. Once people realize that, that's when it happens. And I can't tell you when the people are going to realize it, only that they will realize it. Right. So it's not like, the Super Bowl's, 2 weeks ago on Sunday at 6:30. I wish it was that easy, but it's not. All I can say is because the prices are so cheap, keep buying them at this price level is what I'm telling you. That's the key to it, is just keep buying at this price level is what you want to do. Right. So, what's the price? Oh, it's $20. I can buy for $23. Okay, I'll buy more. Until in my mind, I'm buying more until I can't buy more. Until it goes to 1,000 an ounce silver, I keep buying at 25 an ounce until I can't buy it at 25 an ounce anymore. I can't buy enough because I know it's going to go, let's call it $700 silver. I still think once it hits 7, it goes to 2 and probably higher. But again, in what dollars, right? If this dollar goes to 0, it's not worth 700 an ounce. That's what he's trying to say. We don't know what the currency, it won't be this. This won't have a value. So is it the new currency? And my argument yesterday was that it won't be digital. It won't be central bank digital. And all the digitals are not ready yet. The Bitcoin is not a U.S. Digital currency, right? It's I don't know what the fuck you call it. It's some IT guy in Japan. It's sort of like a worldwide, it's like a PayPal, I guess. But it's not a U.S. digital currency. And my point that he did not understand was the U.S. digital currency. So if they're going to use a U.S. digital currency to replace that, That's 7, 8 years away. That's 2030. That's not available. It's not even being tested yet. It's not going to start till April. You're going to run the test. You're going to have all these problems. You're going to have to fix it. I once was the program manager for an automated T&E system. And we would run the system, and then we tested it. And then in the test, we would find errors. And then we had to go back and add it to the programming. Oh, wait, we missed this. We missed that. We missed this. And we would add these little things to the program as we were going. And it didn't go live. It took a year for a fucking AT&T, for a travel and entertainment Oracle system to go live. Took us a year at a fucking at the Canadian Club Company, right? It took a fucking year to do that for 500 employees. It wasn't a major thing. So that was really the point, to test the thing and then find errors and then go fix the errors. It's going to take years and years and years to do. So a U.S. digital currency is 7 years away. A central bank digital currency will never happen because of JP Morgan, which is what my point initially was. So you have to understand if I'm saying central bank digital currency or U.S. digital currency, which is not a central bank one. It's just the banks, won't even have this anymore. And then the question is, do you have banks? If it's all digital, do you need banks? And if you think the banks are going to go away and just disappear, you're out of your mind. And in the U.S., we're so much more powerful. Wells Fargo and Chase and all these banks are not going to just surrender. That's why I say we'll never get rid of this. And that's why I'm saying central bank digital currency will never come to America because of JP Morgan. Now, this is what I'm thinking. This is my opinion, and this is coming from Alistair McLean. So don't get all pissy at me saying, yes, it's here, it's here, it's here. It's not here. Where the fuck is it here? It's here in Bitcoin. It's not a U.S. digital currency. It's not U.S. as far as I know, although you can use it in the U.S. It's not a U.S. digital currency. So if you're going to come at me, you better know what you're talking about and know what I'm talking about. And you're catching me in the middle, and then violating me is not a very good approach to me. So that's kind of what I'm saying. So you think metal has moved? Okay, so we're pretty much caught up. So I wasn't really trying to catch up everything. I did want to replay Egon, and then this is all new. Again, we'll talk about gold and silver all the time. Bitcoin, again, I don't know what it is. It's not. It's like playing pie guy poker to me. I don't know how to play it, so I'm probably not going to play it and risk money in something I don't know. But that's what separates me from everybody else. They'll play craps and not know how to play it or not know how to win at it. God knows I see enough people at poker that have no idea how to win at poker. They'll play poker because they don't think there's a house edge on blackjack and craps. There's a house edge. So you go to poker and it's just me against you. You don't. But if you don't understand how to play and how to win, you're not going to play or beat me. I'm not there for my health. I'm there to win money. So that's my point. So why would I play Bitcoin when I take a look at it and go, it's a Ponzi scheme? I don't want to play it. So if I didn't play it and I didn't make money at it, then that's my business. It's not yours. And if I didn't get into Madoff because you can make 15%, and I said, how do you do it? And he couldn't explain it. And I said, well, fuck that. It's a Ponzi scheme. So if I'm smart enough to figure it out and I don't play it, I'm an idiot because I didn't make money in it? Really? Okay. So I'm an idiot then. I mean, that's just backwards thinking. That's extremely stupid thinking and not the type of thinking that we want in our classroom, in our community. We want smart people that understand, that strive to understand and strive to excel, right? We want, in Bobby's language, we want a bunch of 400 hitters who can hit 600 home runs. We don't want the bums who hit 120 and strike out 300 times a season and drive in 21 runs like the Tiger team. We want Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle and Barry and Bobby and those type of guys. That's the type of Cal Ripken. That's what we want on our team. So that's where I'm at as far as caught up. I'm not trying to get caught up. I'm just, this is what we're talking about for the last, this is what's current events. So the war in Russia to Ukraine, I don't think it's ending. It's the U.S. has the key and they don't want to end it. They're either trying to wear down Russia and bankrupt them or what, but it's really the U.S. and NATO. It's turning into a tag match. It's now the U.S. and NATO versus Russia and China. So it's like the Rock and Stone Cold against Hogan and Andre the Giant. So it's not one-on-one, and we're the ones keeping the war going. We don't want to settle for peace. We want to keep the fighting because I assume that the defense contractors want to keep selling more and more weapons while there's a war on. So Moriarty's trying to do that. Laugh out loud at 21 RBN. Well, that's if you look at the Tigers, if you look at their box score, it's the funniest thing. I'll point it out. There's like 5 or 6 guys that don't even hit 200. There's nobody that hits 300. There's no RBI guy and there's no home run guy. Who the fuck comes up with this lineup? This is the problem I have with Moneyball. Well, they all walk. Well, great. But you know what? They won 35 games because nobody could drive in runs or hit 300. So how are you not looking for guys that hit 300 who can drive in runs? So you're looking for home run hitters? Well, their best home run hitter hit 10 home runs last year. So what the fuck? Who the hell is picking the players? I mean, that's the problem. Now they got rid of Avila, who I said the day he got hired he shouldn't be the GM. He had no clue. Dombrowski knew what he was doing. He'd go after the Bobbies and the Berries. Avila went after the Joes and the Blows from the high schools, right? That hit 120 and couldn't drive in 5 runs. That was over. You win with stars. We bet Mahomes. We bet Burrow. We bet Lawrence Taylor and Joe Montana. We look for the star to bet because that's why they're the star. It's the best player. That's how you bet. That's one of your major things. And then you look at defenses and coaches. We bet Georgia because they have such a good fucking defense. But we don't bet on Joe Blows. Well, they all walk a lot, and they don't hit, but they all can walk twice a game. And they lose 9-0 because they when you get a guy on second and third, nobody can hit. They all hit 120, so we're not going to drive in any runs. And then they got to swing. Bases are, the pitcher's not going to walk you. Oops, they can't hit. So that's what you look for. But anyway, that's what the goal is you're switching money to buy something, right? That's what life is. You make money. If you're a baseball player or an accountant or a financial analyst or economist, you get money, and then the money is used to buy things. Could be food, it could be a house, it could be a girl, it could be gold and silver, and you choose what you buy it. Most people buy a little of everything, but you don't normally keep it in money. Although people do, they buy stocks or they put it in the bank. People that put it in the bank are really clueless. I mean, just before you would get no interest in the bank. And with inflation for the last 10 years, if the interest rates weren't percent, which they weren't, you're losing money in the bank because inflation was at least 2 or 3% every year. Now it's probably in the 20s to 30% inflation. If they say 6, it's the government. Wait a minute, they don't tell the truth. They're trying to look good. They're trying to buy votes. It's really 16 or 20. So you have to understand that. That's why when I tell Bobby not to listen to the CPI, because the number you're getting is not, it's not like you're watching a baseball game where you can see the game and you go, yep, they won 5-2. Yep, I saw 5 guys score. I saw 2 guys score. I know the score is 5-2. And when you're hearing stuff from the government, 5-2 is not the real game. They're telling you the game ended 7-4, and I just watched it. It was 5-2. No, it was 7-4. And in fact, the 5-2 is wrong. I mean, the team that scored 2 really won 7-4. That's about what the government does to look good. The government, the only thing they can do is be needed, and the only way they can be needed is to come up with this bullshit to make them seem important. Oh, we'll fix inflation. You're the ones that fucking caused it. No, it was Putin caused the inflation, not us. No, it was you, because inflation is about printing money, and Putin doesn't print U.S. dollars. So that's really, now you watch, that's what he's going to use, right? Oh, it's the war. That's why we have inflation. Oh, really? Does Russia have inflation? I don't think they do. If they do, it's to buy more gold. That's why once the gold price goes, there's no more inflation. You cannot have inflation with gold because you can't print gold or copy it. You can dig some out of the mine, but it's such a small amount. But you can't have inflation with gold. You don't need interest rates with gold. Gold's gold. Interest rates are about you're printing money and they're losing value, so you need to charge interest. Otherwise, if it's gold, you don't charge interest. There's no reason to. I give you $1,000, you give me back $1,000 of gold. I'm a happy guy. I got my 1,000 back. So that's what happens. So anyway, we're going on 3 hours. Any other questions or comments, Bobby? It's like me and you today, Bobby. It's a weird time though. It's Monday and start a little later, but that's about it. So again, keep it to points that you want to learn. You don't want to have an argument about Bitcoin. What does that prove? Where does that get you? I didn't buy it. Where does that get you? So what's the point of that? No. Did you make as much as I do betting football games? Probably not, but I don't face. I know what I'm doing. I'm professional at it, so I don't rub people's faces in anything. How much gold and silver do you have? I think he bought his first ounce of gold. I don't even know if he bought it now. I think he bought a half ounce. He was all excited. I got a lot more than that. I don't rub your face in it. I'm happy you bought it. I'm happy, Bobby, you buy silver. You should buy as much as you can because you know why. And you know that the value is cheap and you know you can't stay in dollars. I give you 15 reasons why you don't want to keep your dollars and you want to buy as much silver and gold now before the shit hits the fan, which that's why I show you Egon. So you go, yes, now I see what's happening. Thank you, Bobby. But that's really what it is. It's all the same thing. And something you mentioned a little bit ago on the tax part. Go ahead, Bobby. Like I say, that's capital gains, but it's based on your income. So if you don't make any money, I don't know if you make money or not, Bobby, because you probably just get capital gains, and I'm not sure if that you put as income. So if your income's zero and your capital gain is part of your income, it's very low. So I only see Silver Eagles we don't pay taxes on. No. It's, I guess, American Eagles. He's saying he won't 1099 you on. But I'm not saying, I think it's $10,000. So if you're silver, I wouldn't worry about it. And, if you bought 100 ounces, you're not selling all 100 at the same time, more than likely. What are you going to do with it? If you want to buy a car with, just give the guy the silver. You're not even worried about the other thing. So shouldn't we just stack those then? As much as I love my other one? No. An ounce of gold's an ounce of gold, Bobby. I'm not sure. I'm not sure they'll 1099 silver. or it'll be $10,000 worth. And it's not just Eagles that, again, if silver goes to 2,000 an ounce, takes 4 ounces in and sell it. Take 4 ounces in and sell it. You won't get, it's $10.99 over $10,000. Now he's saying he won't $10.99 a gold eagle, but in my mind, I don't think any of it's supposed to be $10.99, and I don't see a need to $10.99 to take 2 ounces of gold at $50,000 an ounce and get $100,000. I don't. If I'm going to do that, I'll probably. What am I doing it for? Well, if it's to buy a car or a house, I'm just going to give them the gold. So I'm not theoretically selling it. It's a barter. So we'll do a lot of barter with silver probably, but I wouldn't go buy the Eagle and pay more just because of the tax. Again, how much money do you make? You don't make a lot if you make anything, because you're retired. You've got your money sitting in an IRA or sitting in a bank, which you need to get out. But I don't think you're paying a lot of when you do income. If you make zero, you're not. The capital gains doesn't matter. If your income zero, the rate you're going to pay is like 2%, not 28%. So it'll be so small that it won't even matter anyway. So you're better off buying what you buy at $25 and paying $35 because of an eagle. But that was more for gold than silver. But silver eagles cost more, so I guess it balances out at the end of the day. Yeah, well, that's the other thing, right? You're not going to pay that. And again, it's going to take a while, but it's 2,000 an ounce to sell 4 of them. Or sell 5 for $99.99. Say, give me $99.99. I don't get $10.99. He'll take it because he keeps the money, right? So, let's say it came out to $10,200. Just say just give me back $99.99 so I don't pay the $10.99. He'll do that. Keeps a couple $100 for himself. Everybody's happy. I mean, that's probably what'll happen. So you need to find a coin guy that you're going to sell it to, or something. The bison I have here now is the ground bison, Professor. So it's like hamburger. Okay. So it's like when you get turkey and they ground it up for you as opposed to cutting it. And that's fine. So do you notice the difference in taste between the bison and the cows? If I gave you sirloin and you gave me bison, would we know the difference? I would probably doubt it, but who knows? Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, Bobby. If you notice, the Eagles are staying at $35, even though the spot price is going from 25 to 22 to 20 or 21. So if you notice the spot price is down, why is the Eagle still 35? But you can get the others at 3 over spot, right? If you notice the difference, we can get the Cougar Ants or the Maple Leafs or my Buffaloes 3 over spots. If it's 21, I can get it for 24. That's $11 cheaper. That's huge. And when all I care about, silver's at 2,000 an ounce, he's going to give me 2,000 for the Cougar Ant or the Eagle. So the tax consequences, how much are they going to be? Well, like I said, it's $10,000. So, or we get on a plane to Switzerland and they're going to take our money. Believe me, once that happens, everybody's going to want gold and silver. So you're going to have to be very careful. This will be curious what the airlines do. Are they going to x-ray silver and gold or not? I don't know that they would. I would think they would think you just go sell it and they'll take the tax on it when you sell it. But I don't know that that would really be an issue on the airlines. Like they think you're running to Switzerland to go sell it. I mean, I don't know about that. Yeah, it tastes a bit different. There is some good buffalo, Professor. Oh, no, yeah, that's what you're telling me. I heard about buffalo beef before. I just eat the cow. I don't care. It's like digital currency. I don't really care about it. Just like I don't care, buffalo. If you serve me buffalo, I'd eat it. If you didn't tell me there's a difference, I don't know that I would maybe say, like, I think I've had deer once in my life. The guy shoots the deer, the deer hunter, and then they make deer burgers. And I think I've had that before. It tastes a little bit funny, but nothing that really matters. See, the key is I learn what I want to learn. And if I don't want to learn about digital currency, what a blockchain is, I don't learn about it. It doesn't, point in it, because I'm not, where does it head? It heads to crypto. So I'm already 5 steps ahead. So I'm going, what do I care what a blockchain is? I'm not interested in cryptocurrency or Bitcoin. So if I'm not interested in it, why would I care? Why would I study and learn it? I got other things to study and learn more than I do. I got to learn what's happening in the economics and the war, gold and silver, JP Morgan. I got that I'm worried about, because that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm making my money on. So I don't care what a blockchain is. I think it's just a ledger, but who cares? What is the point? That's like the guy at the bank asking me about elastic and inelastic. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a Keynesian. I don't know what the hell that means, nor do I care what it means. It doesn't come into play in Austrian economics, was my point to them. But they just wanted to show how smart they look at me. I know inelastic. I know a word, inelastic. Great. Who gives a fuck? And that's why I say it, because it doesn't matter. I know enough that it doesn't matter to our discussion and or what we're trying to analyze. I don't, it's like, how does a traffic light work? Who cares? It's green, yellow, and red. Why do we need to know how it works? We just know it's out there, right? That's basically it. Yeah, I hear you, Professor. Pig's ears is what I want. Well, you cook it and I'll eat it, Bobby. You go into the club? Yeah, I'll go do my swim. My back's getting better, and I actually am doing a fairly good run in the pool. I did yesterday, a good 15 minutes, and I was starting to lose my shape a little bit, so I'm glad I'm back doing it, and I can do my aerobics pretty good. But my back's fine today. Saturday was perfect. Sunday, it was a little tentative. It tightened up a little bit. So when I'm in the pool, it was tightening a little bit. I got out of the pool. It was fine. Today, it's been fine. I haven't noticed anything. I can tell when I go to sit down. If I can kind of like bend to sit and there's no pain, I'm wonderful. It's when there's a little pain and then I'm kind of, helping myself sit. And then once I get comfortable and it compresses back in, then I get up and I'm fine. So I don't know. I was talking to one of the lifeguards. She said, go to a orthopedic. And I go, well, I really don't want to get into a big bill and everything, because she's not going to help me anyway. All I'm trying to do is identify it and what to do or not do. But she was nice about it. So but I probably won't go to an orthopedic. Right now it feels fine, so I don't need to do anything. I can be my own doctor, and I can let the little guy inside me fix me. So that's always my thought process now. I remember when I was let go in October, and the guy says, well, you can go Cobra. And I go, I don't need a doctor. I don't eat sugar. I don't need a doctor. And I looked at him like, you're a fucking idiot if you're going to doctors. By the way, do you study at night, Professor, like after the club? It depends what. If it's football, yeah. If something comes up in gold and silver, I'll go to YouTube and just kind of check around. Normally, I'm kind of shutting down, watching movies. I found a good Russian movie I watched yesterday called 14 Plus. It was about this guy and girl in Russia who were 14. And they loved each other and everything. But it's cool because you can see the Russian culture, which I need to learn for my Russian girlfriend, to see kind of what they do. And it's pretty interesting. But the whole movie's in Russia. So I'm hearing the Russian, but I'm reading all the thing. And at first you get bothered by it. Then you go, oh, no, it's cool. And I read that. So that's unlike Tubi. You start finding these Russian or Spanish shows or whatever. Then I watched Netflix last week in Spanish with English subtitles. It's a whole different fucking movie because they'll say something, but then when it got translated, it didn't get translated right. And so they're saying exactly, and then they're putting it in English exactly the way the guy's saying it. And it's like, oh yeah, this is a whole different season. So I watched it. I watched it in Spanish. They still got the gold out, and they didn't take any Bitcoin. They just took the gold. It was funny. I got to watch the video on autography. It's AUTO. Autography. It's not autography. It's autography. It's AUT something. You told your Russian girl about the movie. Yes, I did. I told her about the Natasha movie also. You might surprise her next time you see her when you speak in Russian. Well, no, I don't know. I know about 10 words. I learned it from my twin flame many years ago, and it's extremely, like, I'll listen to them talk on the movie, and I get, Spasiba and Pajalster and Dosidanya and Penny Maya. Like the words, but you don't know the connection. Like, how was your day? I could only do the how or the day, or, I understand Bitcoin. I could only do the understand part, but I don't know the word for Bitcoin or the word of the sentence, right? So I can't hold a conversation, but when I'm there or in the Ukraine and we go get dinner, I can say spasiba, which means thank you. So I can thank the way, and it's amazing how they like that. They appreciate that you're trying to learn their language. It's a respect thing. Like I always talk, when you go on fourth down, you're disrespecting the team. So if I say spasiba to a waiter to show them thank you, and I know a little of your language, they smile. They're like, wow, we're okay. He likes us, and it really is good. But I can't have the conversation with them. If they try to talk, I'd be like, I don't know what you're saying. But I got a few words, so that's all I need to know. Yeah, she knows I talk a little. I'll take a video on WhatsApp. I'm walking the lake, right? And I can show her the lake and go, yeah, lube lube Trevia, I love you. And, I could say, Dosidanya, have a nice night. So I kind of say a few things, wish you were here, which I think she understands. They understand some English, mostly dirty sexual English, but they do understand some of it. Money they get. If you take out 100, they get it. Anything to do with money, they'll understand. So they understand a little bit. And I understand. When I'm with Jenna, she's not fully speaks English, but she can speak enough of it. Mostly where we want to go for dinner, when she orders, it's all in English. When I talk, if I might start talking economics, she'd be like, she takes out her phone and says, type it here, and then it'll translate to Ukrainian so she can read it. So that's very rarely do we need to do that. Normally we can just look at each other and we get what we want. Random question that comes to mind. Go ahead, Bob. You don't have to say that, Bobby. Just ask your question. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out it's a question. Do you live anywhere where the Chronic Boxing Gym used to be well, he's in Detroit, so I'm about 20 minutes from downtown. Like the MGM Grand, when I tell you I go there, it's downtown Detroit. It's probably near the Chronic Boxing Gym with Thomas Hearns and then Stewart and everything. So yeah, it's in Detroit. I don't know where. I've never been there, but I assume it's downtown. But it's very kind of dangerous downtown. I go to the casino and I park, and then I get out of the casino and I get on the highway and go. I mean, that's Detroit. There's really nothing down there. I mean, the ball game, right? If I want to go to Lions or Tiger game, I park at the casino. I walk about a 10-minute walk, safe enough to the stadium, and then I would come back to the MGM. But I'm not walking around the other areas and the alleys and stuff like that. I don't really do that. And then I don't really, there's really nothing now. The rent sends it. That's GM. I was working at GM. I hated it because the traffic's so bad. And I really don't like working downtown if I can avoid it. I would much prefer the suburbs because there's no parking. So you're parking in this big, huge lot and you're walking half mile to go to the office. Otherwise, you just like out here, I just go to if I was working, when I was working, I'd go park right there. I'd walk 10 feet to the door and to my desk. So it's a very quick thing. And there's plenty of parking. You go to Kroger's, you park, you walk in, you walk out. There's no pay for parking, and there's no parking. Even if you go to a mall, you don't pay for it. You walk in and off you go. So that's all it is. But yeah, I mean, the Detroit's. I remember my Romanian girlfriend came and we met in LA, and we went to Disney and Universal, and we walked down the pier, Santa Monica Pier, and then I took her to Vegas, and I took her to New York, and we're walking around Times Square. Chicago, we're walking around the Navy Pier and that. And then she says, "Well, what do you got here?" And I go, "Nothing." I go, "There's nothing." So I took her downtown, and I said, "There's nothing here. This is not like Chicago and New York. You're dealing with a bunch of morons here who don't know how to do a downtown area." And I took her to the Renson, and we ate Italian, looking at Windsor, going, "I'd rather be at Caesars in Windsor than here." But we didn't go because the line to get to Canada it takes an hour to cross the bridge now. It's ridiculous. But that's Detroit. There's nothing. No, there's some nice cities out of Detroit, but otherwise you don't go downtown. There's nothing in downtown Detroit you would go for. Well, I'm sure definitely beers, Alabama. Yeah, well, I wouldn't compare downtown is like Alabama, but in the suburbs where the rich GM is, and where Ford is, and where other parts, Ann Arbor, where U of M and Michigan State, and there's something called Troy, which is which has like some steakhouse. I think Shula's is there, and I think that other one, Morton's, I think's there. So you have some nice restaurants and nice malls in like Troy, but that's it. There's not, so that's what I was looking for in Alabama that I couldn't believe. They didn't have any malls. They didn't have any nice restaurants, really. They just had these fake barbecue restaurants where they would slice up a little bit. I go to a boneyard, I get a slab of ribs, or I get the rib chicken, and it comes with salad and coleslaw, and it comes with baked potato or fries or some sort of vegetables. You get a huge meal. There's actually silverware at the table. In Alabama, I got like 3 ribs, a little container of baked beans or coleslaw, and they didn't have real silverware. And I'm like, where the fuck am I? It was the presentation that I found was very cheap. I found the people to be distasteful and not helping you. I'm new. What's going on? I remember meeting a girl at the gym going, I'm new. Can you show me around? She thought I was, Attila the Hun or something. I don't know. I mean, that's what I thought in Alabama. Nobody really wanted to help you or show you stuff. And there was nothing to see there. There was no mall. How do you have a fucking city with no mall, and all you have is a bunch of defense contractors who I guess are the most boring people in the world? I guess they're worse than actuaries, and then that's all you have there. So it really, the restaurants were all McDonald's, Wendy's, and some Taco Bell and Mexican restaurants where they were very expensive for just dives. And there was really I went to a Chinese buffet, but it was just a regular, it's not like my Chinese here. So it was a very difficult I was too if I wasn't an INFJ, I might have been okay with it, but I'm too analytical and too thinking, going, this place sucks. There's nothing here. It was ridiculous. And then since I could read the people at work and at the club, I knew they were just really egotistical assholes that I wanted nothing to do with. There was like a controller, right? So there's my boss and then her boss. I read that guy so well. He was just a scammer. I never thought the guy knew what he was doing. I sat there and I watched the guy and listened to him. And I go, this guy doesn't have a clue. And it was like a salesman. He would bark things, but he never really said anything. He just talked to talk. And I could read that, and he didn't like that because I could read him going, you're full of shit, buddy. That name you just said ending in Huntsville? I don't know. Didn't he make a book or something? So I got to laugh a little bit because I remember hearing Steve Spurrier saying he reads a lot of that and lives a lot by Till's Hunt. I don't know that I said Huntsville. I think I'm not even sure. I thought I just said Alabama or that, but I don't think I said a name. I said Morton's or Shula's Steakhouse in Troy, Michigan. I like Spurrier though. He was a good coach, and the only time I ever bet on South Carolina. He was a good college coach. He sucked as a pro coach. I think he tried that, and in college he was a good quarterback, but not in the pros. Sort of like Manning. Everybody, I'm not sure Peyton Manning was any good, but the father was terrible in the NFL. He'd get, if he was any good, they wouldn't have won 3 games a year. So everybody thinks Archie Manning, is so good. I'm like, he's not good. Peyton's okay, but he choked. Eli was a better clutch quarterback than Peyton. Peyton just had a big mouth and lost all the games to Brady. And now there's like his son, Arch Manning, probably go to Ole Miss or Tennessee, wherever he's going. It's supposed to be a good quarterback also. He'll probably be a choke like Archie, but or like Peyton. Attila the Hun. That's what I said. Not Hunt. So there was a war Mongol named Attila the Hun. He was a Hun back in, I don't know the time frame, but he was like a killer warrior type of, like Alexander the Great or Jim the Anvil Neidhart, in that category. So he was Attila the Hun was like a murderer type. It was but he led armies. Right. This is back when in the Dark Ages after the Romans and until we got going. So that's what I'm saying. They treated me like I'm some villain or something. Nobody was friendly to me, which I kind of lack and like. And the people at work were terrible. So nobody came out of their way to, I know you're from Michigan and new. Why don't we do something? That's what I was hoping the girl would do. When I saw the girl, I was hoping, let's go have dinner. I'm from Detroit. I don't know anything here, anybody. And but that's really what I'm trying to do is that. Anyway, so that's the experience. See, because I'm an IFJ and I read so well, that's the problem. You sit there and you can read people very well, Uh, so I could read my boss, who I thought was an idiot. And they asked me, like HR said, well, what do you think of your boss? I go, I don't really know. She doesn't, she never really show me anything. She keeps to herself. She doesn't really know how to manage. And she basically, I have no idea what her skill set is. I think I'm 5 or 6 levels out of her. And I was talking to HR, and I said, I said, they're nice people, but I'm not impressed that they know what they're doing. I'm coming off of Mercedes, where my boss was a very strong boss and knew her shit. I says, and when I was at Toyota, my boss wouldn't even when I got assigned to do something, it was by the other analyst. It wasn't even by her. And I'm looking at her like, what the fuck? Why aren't you managing me? Why is this other guy giving it to me? And she didn't even have the balls to say goodbye. Right. So she knew I was going down to talk to the VP of HR to get my severance and go. And she said, oh, you can, I think she said, leave your computer, or just leave your computer, or she said, take your coat. You don't need to come back up. And she didn't say goodbye. And it was nice working with you. That's how little she knew of me, thinking I'm going to do something. And then I went down, and then they let me go, and she never called me or thanked me. That's how gutless and weak she was as a person and a man, and more of a person. And I laid into the VP. I said, why'd you guys lie to me? You lied about my salary, which really bothered me the whole time. I was supposed to make 10 grand more, and then they offered me 10 grand less. And then I was supposed to get a reloc check for moving down. It was supposed to be 10 grand. They gross up. So I should have got 10 grand. I got 7,500. They didn't gross it up. And I was fuming, right? Like, what the fuck are you doing? So that's not how you treat somebody who relocates for you. I didn't do it for me. You want me to come from Michigan to Alabama to work in this bullshit, to have Japanese people try to harass me. And I'm not going to take that shit. And so I went to the VP and I said, what the fuck are you working here for? And then I said, why did you lie to me? And I let him have it. Nothing physical and nothing. I just said, I don't understand. Why are you lying? What was the point of lying to me? What is it that you thought you were doing? Did you think I was an idiot? I mean, us boys up north are not idiots. So I was just, and I got like an $8,000 severance, which they ended up getting 6. So fortunately, I should get a good return when I do my taxes. However, since I pulled the money out of my 401k, it's going to wash it out, and I'll probably owe a few grand. But that's kind of what the point was. But I went right toe to toe with the VP. I wasn't intimidated, but it wasn't the Japanese guy. They're all scared of me. It was the VP who I said, you're a nice guy. I don't know why you're working for these guys. Why are you, being controlled by Japanese people who think World War II? The first minute of my orientation was a week fucking orientation. I've never seen this before. A week. So the first thing they showed, the Nagasaki bomb going off in Japan from World War II. And they said, we survived that. And I'm like, that's very offensive. That's what does that have to do with anything? And the fact you did Pearl Harbor on us, that was a retaliation. Is because you did Pearl Harbor. Hello. That's okay. You did Pearl Harbor. Why are you making this political? Why are you bringing this into a war thing? I was offended right there. I was going to leave if I didn't have the, you had to pay back the relocation, but because they let me go and they had really hurt me, they said, you don't have to pay it back. And I said, oh, okay, great. Cause that was like 7,500. And it would have taken me 20 years to pay it back. I guarantee it would have been $50 a month for the rest of my life. Which place was that? That was Alabama, Huntsville, and then Toyota I'm talking about. So that was the difference between Mercedes and Toyota. It was night and day. The Germans treated you very professionally, very nicely. And the Japanese were just assholes. They thought we're still at war, and they didn't like Americans. So what the fuck are you doing in Alabama, and what the fuck are you hiring Americans for? Was it the one with the girl complaining after you gave her the phone? Yes, that job. That's cool. For those few thousand will mean nothing once gold and silver. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. But yeah, that was the point of the girl. I'm there alone. I don't know. I'm divorced. I got my girlfriend in the Ukraine and my other one in Russia. So, and they can't come because there's a war going on. So I'm basically, no, I met her Christmas time. I was going to meet Jenna in Amsterdam, but Amsterdam was closed. So we ended up meeting in Poland. And my boss and the people in my group were offended that I went to Europe. They were like, "Oh, we're not world travelers here." And yeah, I know you guys are a bunch of bums without, with no class. You're a bunch of fucking losers. Who else would work at a place run by Japanese and go, yes, sir, no, sir? What kind of future is that? Why would you even work like that? Everybody there was very intimidated by them and walking on eggshells, but me. And I stuck out like a sore thumb because I'm like, fuck you guys. I'm not going to listen to this shit. But that's an INFJ. So I asked the girl, like, maybe I wanted to get to know her. I liked her. I had a good feeling from her being an INFJ. And I wanted to she wouldn't really, she was really weird. So she was really shy to me. I guess she could feel me and it scared her. And so I wanted to ask her out for dinner. I knew let's go to a place, let's get to know each other. And that's why, because you could really never have that conversation with her. She'd always run away. That's why I did the football bet. It was like, here, I'll give you, we started to talk a little bit more. I said, here, I'll give you, if the game wins, I'll give you $100 and you can go enjoy yourself. And if it loses, you don't owe me. How she turned that into sex, I don't know. But that was really the point of that. Then it won. Here's 100. Why don't we go out to dinner let's go out and do something. That's really what I was trying to do. But because you're at a work setting with crazy people and a girl who wasn't all there or whatever her shy problems were, you really couldn't have like this type of conversation that we have here, Bobby. So that made it very difficult. So that's what the $100 was about. Was not sexual. It was to get inside of her a little bit more to then ask her out because I didn't know anybody there and I liked her and let's just go around and see. And you can show me places, but again, that was insane. But I bitched at HR. Why didn't you show me around? I'm from Detroit. This is Huntsville. Why aren't you making me comfortable? Telling me where to live, showing me the sites. Why aren't you doing that? Nobody gave a fuck. Okay, so I don't give a fuck, right? Well, a few thousand. It's right now I'm in a kind of a funk because I have my money in cash and then I got all this money in gold and silver. So Daria needs some dental work. She says she needs the plants, right? And I said, well, I got the money, but the way I work is I just use a little at a piece. And then when gold and silver goes up, then I don't care. I'll have a lot of money and then I can give you a lot and take care of your teeth. But I said, right now, I don't want to spend a lot of money, run out of money and have to go sell some gold and silver to live on. So I've got money in the IRA still, and then I got money in my safe, and then I get the Social Security, but it's not enough. It's enough to pay like the rent and the food and utilities, But when I add the girls and a couple of credit cards, I need a few more dollars, which is fine. But so but I like to be careful. I don't spend everything, and then because I don't know how long I'll need it until gold and silver go through the roof. I keep waiting for a job where I can make some more money and take care of that, but it's been frustrating there. I'll get calls and I can't get the job. Did they at least give a warning or something first, or just pretty much just said you're fired out of nowhere? Pretty much fired out of nowhere, but I could sense it, and I knew. I was like surprised I was still there, right? So I'm working and I'm thinking, oh, I'm done Friday, and I'd still be working. And so I was surprised I was still working, especially after the treasurer was yelling at me. I've been there 2 months, 3 months, and we did a budget. And I was pretty thorough on the budget. I made sure everything made sense, but it was very confusing, and I just started, so I don't know. So one guy needed $1 million for maintenance, but it was a big that's a whole plant, right? It was probably 10 acres long. He said, I need $1 million for like planting the trees and cutting the trees and mowing the lawn and all the maintenance. And I said to the manager, it'd be like somebody like you, Bobby. And I go, you sure you need that? And he says, yeah, I've checked it out, and that's what's needed. And I said, okay. So then I would go, and I said that in the meeting. And then the treasurer, we have another meeting with the treasurer, and the treasurer says, well, what's with this $1 million? And I says, well, I talked to the manager. That's what he thinks he needs. He says, didn't you check it out yourself? I says, no, why would I? I mean, 4 years of Mercedes, we had managers do that, right? When the manager said he needed so much for a project, then that's why he's managing it. And I'm there to write down, Joel needs $600,000 for Microsoft. That was my job, not to get in, because how would I know anything about it? I'm not an IT manager. That's why you have IT managers. They're supposed to manage it. I keep score. So when I'm in Toyota, I'm sitting there doing the same thing. I'm sitting there going, he told me it would cost $1. That's what I think it's cost. So therefore, if I ask him, I did ask him about it, and that's what he told me. Why would I go get a quote? I don't know how to quote it. I've been here 3 months. I don't know what you're talking about. And he starts yelling at me in the meeting, like just sort of like our friend did. And I'm like, I said to him exactly this. So I'm being yelled at, and I says, you're out of line. Just like that. You're out of line. Not yelling, just how I'm talking now. You're out of line. Why are you yelling at me? There's no reason to yell at me. I'm a professional. I got a master's degree. Why are you yelling at me? And he kept yelling like a 3-year-old. That's the way the Japanese are. So he's yelling at me, and I keep saying, you're out of line. And my boss is sitting at the other end of the table, and I'm looking at her. She's not saying a word. She's just sitting there. And I'm saying, you're out of line. I mean, it was probably planned anyway, but I'm telling the guy he's out of line, and he doesn't like it because he's Japanese. And how dare an American talk back to the Japanese, because we detonated a bomb in 1945 in their country. So we're supposed to pay for it, forever. And he keeps yelling, and the more you're yelling at an INFJ, the more I'm telling you to fuck off. So I'm just saying, I didn't swear and I didn't yell back. I just said, you're out of line. There's no reason to talk to me. And then he kind of got a little bit out of line. Some more were saying, why are you here? And I says, I don't understand your question. I'm here to work. I'm working. I don't understand. Why am I here? What kind of question is that? In other words, I'm here to work, but I'm not, because you fucked me out of 10 grand, I'm giving you my least effort, right? I'm here helping, but that's it. You're not, I'm still learning, right? How much do you know after 3 months? So this was like January, and I started in November. So I've been there 2 months, right? And you had Christmas. So I'm just looking at the guy like he's out of his mind. I says, I'm a professional, and I didn't quite get why he was yelling at me. Like, first of all, you look very unprofessional. You look like a moron. Why are you, the treasurer, even talking to me? I've never talked to a treasurer in my life at GM, Ford, Mercedes, anywhere I've worked. I never speak to the treasurer. It's like I never speak to the CFO. You speak to your finance manager. And I'm looking at my boss, and she's just sitting there like an idiot. And I'm like what's going on here? And she's just sitting there, and she's not saying anything. And then eventually HR has a word with me. Oh, I understand. I said, yeah, I'm not here to be harassed. I was harassed by this guy. Maybe that's why they let me go, because I wasn't happy because I was getting harassed. And I said, I didn't come here to get harassed by idiots. That might be why I wasn't happy. So maybe that's why they let me go, more so than anything I did, because you relocated me from Detroit. You wanted, they were short. They couldn't hire anybody. People would go, and as soon as they'd see that bomb being blown up in the first part of the orientation, they'd leave. They couldn't keep people there. Everybody hated it because the Japanese were trying to control you. I remember walking, and my hands were in my pocket because it was cold. And one of the Japanese guys pulls my hand out of my pocket. He's lucky I didn't kill him. I'm like, what are you doing? Well, you can't walk with your hands in your pocket. I'm like, am I in a fucking concentration camp? What are you talking about? These are the conditions you had, Bobby. It was insane. And I'm an INFG. I'm not putting up with this shit. So I'm under those conditions. So when I see this girl, that's I wanted something positive, not all this negatives. And when I went to the club to work out, I'd try to talk to some other girls, and they were all. I remember one girl. She's on like the pumper thing, right, where you're standing on it and you're doing your legs. And she's pretty. I start talking to her, and she goes, and her boyfriend came by, and I'm looking at like, who are you? I'm her boyfriend. And I go, so am I supposed to stop talking to her because you're her boyfriend? Like, I just laughed at the guy. Like, who the fuck cares who you are? I'm having a conversation with her. She's talking back to me. She's not telling me to leave. I have a boyfriend. What is your problem? And I just kept talking to her. But that was what I ran into there. The girls were so weird. They were so scared of the boys. And the boys were like 3-year-olds. She's my girl. You can't talk to her. And I'm like, oh yeah, why are you so jealous? If she loves you, she's not leaving you for me unless I'm a better guy. And that's where the competition comes in. So anyway, that was the nightmare there. But I basically told HR I didn't come here to get harassed. And I didn't hold no strings like, oh, I'm scared, or he's Japanese and I'm American. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm getting harassed by this guy for no reason. I said I did the budget, and I had done her budget, the HR manager's budget. She says, yeah, you were fine with me, and I learned a lot and everything. I go, I've done this for 20 years. I know what the hell I'm doing at GM, Ford, and Mercedes. I didn't think Toyota would be this different of a place. So anyway, that's why it was such an aggravating experience with there. So the one highlight, this girl was like, oh, good, there's a ray of sunshine. And then to hear this shit about, oh, he wanted sex with me for $100 when it never came up was even more confusing. Like, I'm looking at the girl like, what the fuck is your problem? So I intentionally went by her and said hi. I didn't know I was leaving that day. And I just, I was like, okay, I won't talk to her anymore. And then I saw her and I was like, no, I have feelings for her. I said, hi, hope you're well. And I walked right by her like, go fuck yourself. What is wrong with you? And it's just, so it was a very negative experience. The whole, and then the movers fucked me too. So it was just I would never go to Alabama or Huntsville. I would never tell anybody to go there. It's extremely terrible city surrounding people. There's nothing good about it. No malls, no restaurants. What the fuck? I mean, it's unbelievable. Did they at least give? Yeah. So they didn't really give me a warning. It was like, oh, they want to see you. But I had that being an INFG. I knew my days were numbered because of the way people were. I could tell my boss. Then they had a big HR meeting with my boss, which I knew was about. I could feel was about me. But it was I wasn't invited to my own funeral, so it's pretty funny. But I was looking about when I came back from I think early January. I almost had a job in New Jersey with the big pharmaceutical, and they asked me, "Can I start tomorrow?" And I said, "Well, I should give 2 weeks notice, but I can start soon." And I didn't get the job because they wanted me to start the next day and not give 2 weeks notice. And I'm like, so had I gotten it, I would have owed the 7,500. But I was looking, but it's hard to get a job like right away. So, then I came back and I had the job here after like a week or two at the small shitty place there. So the moral of the story is there's a lot of shitty companies. That's why when you find a Mercedes that you love and it's a good place to work and you're liked and respected, that's why you don't look. And that's not about money. I could have got a $20,000 raise to leave Mercedes. I wouldn't have taken it. I've learned when you find that, and the same thing with the girl, if you find the right girl, you don't leave her, even if there's a prettier one or there's something about other girls. If you found the one, you don't leave her. No matter what, because the grass is never greener. I mean, that's what you're looking for. So you finally find the girl. You don't leave her. You don't, oh, this girl's hotter, I'm going to go with her. No, because you have the chemistry and the makeup with the girl. And that's how I have it with the Ukrainian girl and the Russian girl. I have very good chemistry. I didn't have it with my wife. And as I evolved, I realized it wasn't the chemistry that I was looking for. So that's why I left my wife. There's nothing there. It was boring. And I'm not going to waste the rest of my life with her. I just saw no purpose in it. Well, an INFJ, it's like meeting the communists. There's no point in going on, and you slam the door is what it's called. And that's what I basically did with my ex. It was like, goodbye. Anyway, Bobby, you still there? All right, it's 3.5 hours. I am going to go. I'm going to eat. I'm going to go work out. And have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. And I will find that point where he says 666 and 10,000. I thought I was on my last one, but it wasn't there. All right, have a great day. Be good and take care. All right, thank you very much.